time on this wonderful show that we don't really have a name. Party was faced with a bit of an unsettling realization that beneath the city of Chora, the capital city, largest city in the continent, and hometown, or nearby to hometown for a couple of the characters here, that there are pools beneath the city that collected drops of water, mind tears, if you will, and I will, down below into the caverns, where they were kept by an ancient creature, one of the fundamental evils the party found out. And from those tears themselves were the thoughts, the anxieties, the worries of all of the creatures, all of the people living in the city above. Party was rightfully creeped out, and though promised with likely information that could help in their quest to determine the contents of the Temple of Elders, which seems to be their primary focus, they thought better of consulting with such an evil being and fled, upon which they made their way closer and closer to the lost city of the Forgotten Elves, which is amazing sounding now that I say it out loud. So, on their way there, however, they did face what appeared to be some sort of perimeter defenses, a trapped room, the puzzle that, if you were tuning in, you likely thought they would never get out of. And that was just that was just the puzzle part. So we all learned that fire elementals are a great way to lighten up an encounter, and party eventually did solve the puzzle, bested the elementals that were spawned, and we now arrive back on that scene as the doorways open. Flumps have retreated.
Flump is singular in this case.
The other one was murdered.
And you see a passage in front of you. Continuing on, you can see there are flickering of lights, not just the pale bluish greenish lights that sort of marked the journey here, but also that of faint orange yellowish lights just flickering off in the very distance of this passageway. What would you like to do?
I am feeling a little weak. So, I'm just gonna rest for a bit.
Yeah, I might roll a hit die or two.
If resting is our goal, are we sure we're out of the drow-controlled area?
I think this is the...
Last I remember, we had decided that it would be safest to make it to Kendra's father. But we can reconsider for 30 or 40 minutes.
Well, I mean, we can keep going a little bit more and then make camp. Well, not really make camp. Pause briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Mechanically, about an hour. For mechanical purposes.
Does anyone need some additional healing? I have not expended any lay on hands healing.
That's what kind of what I was getting at.
We could probably short rest here, right? I mean, we've been here this whole time. We haven't been attacked by drow, so...
We've only been attacked by other things.
Yes, but drow are opportunistic. Or at least the drow that pursue us seem to be.
I'm just gonna cure wounds myself. Unless anyone else is like feeling.
Alright.
I'm going to rest.
So are you guys resting in the
Unless we really want to leave.
in the area that's
the trap room?
The trap room?
I recommend that maybe we go to the hallway through the door we just opened, just in case something resets.
Indeed.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Avoiding having to fight the second time.
Correct.
All right, so do we just want to go a little bit further into the tunnels and then stop? Because I mean, like, I'm not about to fall over.
I would like to go one
Out of
step
character.
further through the doorway and then sit down.
One step.
Any further, and we're just risking triggering more.
All right, so passing through the doorway as party. Once the last of you is through, you can see, turning back very slowly, the threshold just becomes translucent, shimmery again, as if things have closed. The sections of the sphere which broke apart kind of slowly reform, and it begins to just rotate again as the state that you found it. I'm guessing maybe it's about a quarter mile to sort of where you can start to see lights and such off in the distance.
Holly, you got that message?
What?
There's a chat area. You should read it.
Oh. Oh, thank you.
All right, let's just short rest for a minute because I'll get my bardic inspiration too.
Short rests take 60 of those.
Okay,
60 for
I'll allow it.
All right. So as we're resting, I kind of take a look at what's been burned on me and maybe try to slowly mend a little bit of it.
Casey, can you just describe the entrances to our current location, for example? Is it just a hallway, or is there many,
it's just a single passage looking down. The cobblestones sort of beneath you are much more regular. It looks like this area has kind of care has been taken to kind of level it off, whereas some of them were stuck up before. The walls are fairly smooth, carved out stone. It's not kind of like that rough hewn, just hacked up caverns.
Okay.
Somebody's mic is hot that we're getting a lot through.
I believe that is.
Yeah. Hang on one moment.
Yeah.
I want to hear
Get
this.
out of here. Leave.
I hope it's the same outburst she gives us in roleplaying.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
All right. Yeah, so
Sorry
it's
about
just the way behind you is sort of closed off into the room that you were in previously, and there's just a tunnel ahead of you. So there's
Holly's
as far as you know, one way in and out.
Akira seems to be immobilized for a while. So
Kira is already taking her short rest.
I actually noticed a lot of people rolling. Did we accrue a short rest given the chance?
If you would like to take a short rest, we can see what happens.
Well, that's why I'm waiting to roll my hit die.
I as
You're
well am
taking a
waiting.
short rest.
Okay. So
Does anything occur over the course of the hour?
you all sort of sit down, regroup, bandage wounds, clean yourselves off, mend various things, and achieve a short rest.
I will. God, we've been really kind of worn thin. These are my last of the hit dice I have.
Like, I have full hit dice right now.
I-
Why is this happening to me?
I have one less than full hit die.
I have all of the hit die.
I get another turn to scream. Thank you.
All right. Pitter patter of little hit die rolls here. And we are. That's a lot of hit die. Oh, are you guys like on fire for multiple rounds or something? Is that?
Wanna roll above average, or?
Boy, would
that
I.
helps.
That's a good one.
That's exactly enough to bring me to full. And I'm out of hit points. Hit dice. Hit dice are gone. All 10.
3.
All right. So, the path ahead of you is a long corridor that stretches perhaps a quarter of a mile out away, beyond which you can sort of see flickering lights out in the distance. Back the other way is blocked by that barrier.
All right, well, let's get moving then.
All right. So, heading down in the direction I choose. You make your way further on. The lights sort of still flickering. You do see sort of both oranges and that sort of bluish green, very light color out, sort of mingled together. Everyone make a perception rolls as you kind of get to about half, 3/4 of the way down this. All right, good. 16, 22, 8 for good old Tebrin, 7.
Why can't I roll anything above a 10 in any game that I play?
All right. So, those of you, anyone above about 13, so this is Kendra and Akira, and I can't see Numerius, so it's not Numerius. You do hear sounds, you start to make it out, sounds of voices. You can't hear exactly sort of words or anything, you just hear sort of voices, and you do hear sounds like metal hitting stone, and other sounds of just sort of general movement, some footfalls, etc.
We can't tell what language you're speaking.
It's like it's distant. If this were Netflix subcaptioned, it would just say inaudible voices.
Okay. So to the group, I'd just say, "Shh, quiet, listen."
Fortunately, that doesn't change their perception rolls, and they hear nothing.
So,
They're
after pointing it out, you can all sort of stop being quiet, and you do hear just sort of a little bit of a din out ahead.
Dinner, excellent.
Would you like to continue?
Yes.
Avils lead us.
I'll stand back.
We're about to be heading straight back into the Empire.
If I can put something over there to see what it is, if you want.
Do you hear something in close proximity or something very distant that the tunnel just lets us hear?
Quite distant.
Okay.
All right.
Lead on.
So proceeding on, Sierra kind of unaffected, just sort of keeps on walking. Heading forwards, you progress another, and you do see that the tunnel kind of bends around a little bit, and you see in front of you a gate set up. Just sort of iron bars, almost kind of like prison-like bars that just sort of cover the entirety of the tunnel itself, and in the center is a normal-sized door, has a chain wrapped around it, and a padlock on it. The padlock is on the other side of it, as if it was locked from the other side.
Okay. Is there any writing on it?
Wait, is it a gate or a door?
It's a gate with a door that is padlocked.
But is it like a...
It's a set of bars, floor to ceiling, wall to wall.
So it's bars?
The spacing on the bars is maybe about 4 inches apart.
I'm gonna Misty step right through. Not even gonna break stride, just Misty stepping through.
All right. Right to the other side you go.
Goodbye.
All right then.
Salute and head to the darkness.
You're just leaving us there?
Roll your insight, Holly.
Is she just leaving us there?
Well, luckily, I would like to step up to the lock and take a look around to see if there was any person reaction to Kendra's
All right, perception.
parents.
I'm not actually heading off. If that wasn't immediately obvious.
10.
You're making it tense.
Terrible.
You're welcome.
You don't hear anything.
All right, I'm gonna pick the lock.
All right. Give me a thieves tools roll at disadvantage since you're doing this kind of backwards.
I'm sure this will be.
Can I like turn the padlock from this side? Or
If
flip
you,
it up?
You can flip it up, but then it's upside down.
Okay, now somebody pick up Tebrin, turn him upside down, and there's no disadvantage.
I don't think that's how any of that works.
Because that wouldn't be added stress. Blood flow.
Thieves tools, please. At disadvantage.
Oh yeah, there it is.
All right. Despite being a 1, that is still a 10, which on you go through, and it is a little bit sort of weird kind of picking it back in around corners. However, even with that low of a roll, you take about 15 minutes as everyone starts to kind of get antsy behind you. Sierra kind of like leans up against the bars and is like, come on, Tebrin.
Would you like to do this?
Teach Kendra how to do
go
it.
faster. But eventually, you feel a click and the lock opens. You get the impression that it was very simple, very common lock.
Yes, well, sometimes complicated locks take longer.
That must have been very complicated then.
I don't know enough about locks to mock you.
I'm sure that won't stop you.
Sierra
Listen.
kind of tugs at the chain and starts unraveling it as you talk.
Evan broke us out of jail with just a bobby pin, and it was awesome. I mean, not being in jail, awesome with the slot, but
I remember something about
that actually went correctly.
consequence of that slot, I recall, but I don't recall the
I know, yeah, and then I got bit by it or scratched by it, and the slot almost came out of me, but you were there to save me. See, this is all of us come together. This is like a beautiful thing.
I start walking.
Beautiful thing.
All right.
Is there any writings in the tunnels anywhere?
Oh, I'm also...
Nothing that you've seen. It's just stone.
Okay.
Once we're all through, I'm gonna close the door again and like lock it back up the way it was.
All right. As you go to kind of click the lock
Wait,
back
I'm
in,
still... Oh.
Numerius like scurries back out from the shadows as he's been pacing about. As you go to close the lock back in, it doesn't relatch back behind it. You feel like it should, but it just doesn't. You're like, maybe I broke it. But you can kind of set it up. It can get looped through.
Well,
it
I
just
did my best.
Doesn't latch.
Unless, actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna call Roswell back and see if she can mend it.
Oh,
because I don't like the idea of leaving an open door for the drow at our backs.
Do you believe that this door cannot be breached by the drow, fixed or not?
Well, it'll slow them down at least.
I mean, he did say it was an incredibly complicated lock. If it took Tebrin 15, maybe it'll take them. Who knows how long?
4 to 5.
All right, so maybe a couple of minutes, and I try to mend it back. I don't know how intricate I can do the lock, but I can at least maybe mend it together.
Yeah. So yeah, focusing on it, you just sort of grab hold. It glows for a second, sort of this soft white light, and then Tebrin, you kind of turn it, push it a little bit, and it just clicks in.
This is a lot different than fabric. I mean, it's obvious, but it's good job.
Thank you.
All right. So, the pathway bends slightly off to the left, and as you step forward past that bend, you see out into what appears to be a city street. Still somewhat darkly lit. The cobblestones beneath your feet are very even. Everything is nice and flat. It's like you're almost coming out of an alleyway into a city street. You see across the way there are sort of facades of buildings that look like they've been carved into the rock, facing sort of the facing wall to the cavern And aside from you, on either side, as you kind of step forward, appear to be buildings sort of carved up on either side of you.
Well, this is the coolest thing I think I've ever seen. It is an underground city for real. Is there writing on these?
No writing.
No writing. What the hell's going on? Okay.
Are there any signs of people?
The sounds that you heard earlier are louder. Are you heading out towards the street?
I'm gonna look around first before I do that.
Okay. Give me a perception roll.
There we go. 20. Not natural.
All right. Looking around, you do kind of poke your head out. You can see the street does extend kind of for a little bit in both ways, and then it seems to have streets coming off of it. You can see pretty far. It's all lit by similar sort of lamppost street lights that you've seen before. However, these ones do have what appears to be conventional sort of lantern, sort of metallic lanterns placed on top of them that have flames burning in them. So it's lit sort of by conventional flame. And you do see figures sort of in various places moving around. Some of them have wheelbarrows or carrying tools. Others appear to be sort of like looking and pointing and gesturing at things. Just sort of a general mood of people going around sort of deliberately doing things.
All right. Well, still think that the Havels should lead us up. Put our best foot forward, as it were.
Ooh.
I'm flattered.
And perhaps
Don't let it go to your head.
Perhaps
I
we should
already
stand
saw Rockin'.
slightly behind. That's fine. Sierra sort of scampers out behind you, Kendra, as you go. As you all sort of get into the streets, the kind of commotion of the gaggle of adventurers in a couple of the people turn. There's one man who's dressed sort of wearing an apron and what appear to be work clothes, has a pail of water and a washcloth. He's scrubbing the side of one of the buildings. He just sort of like turns and sees all of you and just kind of like, hello? How did you get down here?
We walked for 4 to 5 days through caves. We fought a dragon. We fought some drow. We opened a gate, and here we are.
Right.
How did you get down here?
You're not supposed to be down here yet. It's not open. Not open to the public.
We're not the public.
Well, apparently not. I got here the same way everyone else did. Took the rail down. Right. Suppose you should speak to the foreman. He's just like slowly stepping like back away from you a little bit, kind of like puts the bucket down. I guess, are you, and you can see at the end of the street now other people have stopped, just sort of like looking at you. Right, wait, are you all from around? No, probably not. Here, from up there?
You said this place is going to be open to the public?
Of course, is what we're doing. It's supposed to be hush hush. We can't. Just don't tell anybody I just said that. I probably shouldn't have. Sacred.
Why are you building this?
They're paying me to. Not actually built. I'm kind of cleaning this one.
Yeah. Well, not you specifically, but like all of you.
Oh, the collective second person.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's by Emperor's orders.
Oh, okay.
We're getting paid. It's a job's work. It's a little bit underground, but hazard pay is good. The guard keeps us pretty safe. occasionally strange people wander in. Actually, this is the first time anyone's wandered in. I don't... Well, the foreman, come, just follow me. Not too close, though. Great. So, how long have you, no, you said that already. Okay. No, it's okay. I've got them. We're going to the foreman.
Oh, what's your name, stranger?
Carry on. My name is Trevor.
Nice to meet you, Trevor.
And you are?
A person.
I'm also Trevor.
That's weird that you took so long to not remember your name.
Yep.
Any of you got names? How am I supposed to introduce you?
I'm Kendra Havel.
Oh, you're a Havel. No relationship to Langdon, are you?
Every relation. Well, no, one relationship.
That's a...
Not every relationship.
You his wife.
Say yes.
I'm his mother.
That doesn't make sense. Well, right. I get. Well, the foreman will sort all this out. Just keep following me, Miss Havel. And so you kind of walk through. He takes you through, kind of winding through a few city blocks. You do see there's various workers. You do see that there are walking around. There are several sort of like large kind of signs built out of wood that are kind of like hand painted. Some of them say like home of so and so or whatever. You can see there are several of the doors to the houses that look opened. You can kind of peek inside. They all have sort of audacious facades that are covered in elven filigree and just carved straight into the walls themselves. The interiors dug deeper back behind the front facades. Each interior that you see as you look through side to side is it's unique, and it's like winding and changing in elevation, not necessarily just like a set floor. Some of them kind of curve and go down, so you can kind of peek through windows and such. Several of them are lit inside to give you a bit of a better view, and you can see they're furnished. There's tapestries that adorn the stone walls. Looks like there's wool carpets across the cold floors. Various sort of stone slabbed furniture in different places, all adorned with these metallic accents of what appear to be bronzes and golds. Very little wood around, although there are occasional things.
Does this look new, or does it look refurbished?
Make a history check.
Also, you said that there were signs on some of these houses as we went?
Yes.
Is that are any of those something that Tebron recognizes from any sort of history or story that the drow had passed on?
Nope. Nothing drow related.
Well, no, I just mean because...
They're all written in common.
So he doesn't recognize any of them at all?
And the names aren't of any importance that we've heard or...
Make history checks with? For those of you investigating various signs. Roswell, none of this stuff looks old in any way. Tebron, nothing.
It feels it. Yeah, it feels right.
3 for Tebron, 8 for Akira. Their names, the names are, they seem elvish, but none of them, like, stick out to you as, like, oh, that's the great Excelsior. A little late to the party there, Kendra. Stop rolling. All right. So, as you sort of wind through town for a couple of minutes, you do see this kind of short, mousy woman who's got her hair sort of tied back up in a big bun. Young, probably about a little bit older than you, Kendra, you're guessing. Appears to be a half-elf. Kind of got a little bit of a bounce in her step as she kind of comes to the center of the street and sort of stops and looks. Trevor, what did you find? Who are these people? How did they get in here? Oh, I'm sorry. They just kind of walked in. I thought I should find you. Well, there you go. And then he just sort of like backs up through you without turning around and then sort of starts walking. And she kind of steps up sort of right to you, Kendra. How did you get here? Who are you?
I'm Kendra Havel.
Havel? Kendra?
Yeah. That's me.
We used to go to school together.
Oh, of course.
It's
I remember.
Jovanis. You remember?
Of course.
You used to tease me relentlessly.
That sounds right.
It's nothing personal. I just don't like people.
Oh, your sister's here. Why didn't you mention that? She kind of steps around past you. Ciora, it's Jovanis. Ciora just like looks at you, Tebrin, out of the corner of her eyes, like, I don't know. Yes, of course. She runs up and like hugs Ciora, and Ciora's just like.
Tebrin keeps his countenance, but with difficulty.
As she kind of like steps back, kind of straighten herself out. Well, this is wow. So did your father invite? Is this like some sort of surprise visit? There's not supposed to be anyone down here until it's officially announced. And well, here you are. So I don't know if your father's around. Can we go find Langdon? Welcome. Why are you here?
Why are they building this?
Because the Emperor wants it. They're not building it. It's already built. They're cleaning it and making it ready for the public. We're here about the excavation.
Yes, and to see Kendra's father.
Yes.
Oh, well, good for you to know. The excavation is actually all finished now. We wanted to finish right up, right before, tournament got here. You can't have any, moving and shaking for that. There's enough partying going on back up in the city, right? Bodrin's March, yeah. Good times. So, what, well, I mean, do you want the tour? It's still a little bit work in progress. You're going to have to kind of forgive us for that. We weren't expecting anyone to be down here for another, probably about a week, maybe.
Kendra and her best friends would love a tour.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is great. I do ask that you don't touch anything. It's got to be perfect for the Emperor. He's a stickler for historic detail. And let me tell you, we have been working our butts off on this one. It's going to be like, you're going to just come on. It'll be awesome.
I'm sorry. Can you just say your name for me one more time? It's just so fun to hear.
Jovanis. My name is Jovanis Corvallis.
How does that spell? The M.
Javanis is Jovanis. It's not necessarily the colloquial spelling, but my mother thought it would be creative to sort of spin it a little bit, get rid of the E. You know how mothers get, right?
Sure.
No.
I don't have a mom.
Well, I have too much of a mother. Let's just keep rolling right on past that one.
Right. No, it's everything. It's very fine. We'll keep going on the tour. So, I mean, you guys, you're my first tour. This is amazing. Okay. So,
is this your job? Are you a tour guide?
I am one of the curators here. My job is to manage the way that people will flow through all of the exhibits. You guys are kind of coming in through the back, which is a little bit weird, but that might be cool. Like, it's sort of like the backstage experience, right? Like, have you ever been to a show and then they like let you behind the scenery? You're like, oh my God, that doesn't look like what it was before. So, here, we'll go to the front and I've sort of envisioned it, and you can see my vision, and then you can see if you coming in from the other side is different than what you envisioned.
I nudged Tebrin, and I'm like, I am fascinated, but so confused at the same time.
I don't have any answers for you whatsoever.
Is this what show people do? Did you ever do this?
Is that racist? I think that's racist.
Wait,
I've never been a museum tour guide.
Well, I don't know. It looks like theater. It feels like theater. I haven't really been to theater.
wait a second. Do you sing?
Just
Yeah, Tebrin.
yes.
Oh my God! I
Right.
got to hear you sing sometime.
Well, we'll be sure to do that at some point.
Okay, Javanis,
Anyway.
you have my full attention.
Great. Sir, excuse me. I'd prefer if you kind of like just take your hands off your weapons. It's gonna be fine. There's no danger here. Everything is safe. Great. Thank you. Okay. Well, so that is the way you would come in, as you sort of like circle around, and there's a little bit of like a open sort of square pavilion here. You see there's a statue in the center of it. As she kind of like ushers you around like a tour group in front, you see the statue depicting a torch wielding sort of cloak wearing mage, sort of kneeling. The torch is kind of like up, held sort of horizontally, and it looks like the carved light on it. It's not actual light, just sort of like the carving is dwindling a little bit. And standing in front of them is a figure that looks sort of in a ceremonial kind of historic Dracoran armor. And you can see that there is a plaque in front of this that says Monument of the Last Light in common.
Didn't we already see that?
Does it look like
Does it look the same, except for the armor?
Looks totally different.
So basically it looks like they tried to replicate that down here. Like it's a bad diorama version of it.
It doesn't look like it was copied.
They just stole the name.
You all look a bit confused.
No, Tebrin looks furious.
Well, here's I wanted to go bigger. I wanted to go straight to the Temple of the Elders right when you come in, but no, we had to start at something good. The Emperor likes sort of a slow progression through kind of nuanced history. So this is the Monument of the Last Light. Okay, so are you guys familiar with the Ria Rikul? They call them the Forgotten Elves. It's okay
Yes.
if you don't remember, because they're forgotten. All right. So, the Forgotten Elves were perhaps one of the most formidable of the adversaries in all of the history of the Dracoran military. About 300 years ago, though, we did rout them in considerably decisive fashion. And, you know, the tournament, Bodrin's March, that goes across the continent to recount the historic triumphant march back to the capital of General Bodrin, is going to be in town. That's the culminating event at which this will all be announced, and then open to the public so they can get this experience that you're about to have.
Oh yeah, this experience exactly.
Yes.
We certainly are having an experience.
Please hold questions. No, you can ask a question, I guess. That's fine.
A side thing. Does the statue look like Agthumon?
Who's Agthumon?
I'm not asking in character.
It does not look like Agthumon.
Okay. Just the robe and stuff. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Great.
Carry on.
Great question. So, this is the city of Randore, which is the last city of the Forgotten Elves. I know that's a lot of endings, but for you, it's going to be a beginning of your understanding of this history.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
I gently put a hand on Roswell's head.
All right. As you can see from the carving here, which is steeped in tradition, this is Monument of the Last Light. The last light, symbolized by the torch, was a metaphor for the Ryukul's mastery of the elements. Fire, in this case, of the torch. And you can see that she's kind of like, every once in a while she like pauses and she's like, you can tell she's just like remembering some sort of script, and then sort of goes through the next part of it. And at the very end of Bodrin's march, when Bodrin returned to Chora for celebration and then eventually discovered that there was a city here, he descended, the Ryukul surrendered at the last light, turning over the last of their elemental power and thus rendering them no longer enemies of the Empire. And so this is the prolific site in which that occurred.
DM, does any of this sound right to Temperance?
Make a history check.
Okay, this is gonna go great, like every other roll I've made tonight.
Can I hang on before you roll? Can I see you thinking, like standing there, thinking kind of hard about it, and cast guidance on you? Like you kind of cock your head and you're like, "Can I cast guidance?" And then go ahead and roll. Oh, well.
Hey. 21.
21.
Nice. So, based on everything you know about history, the Ryukul were brutally tracked down, hunted, and killed across the land wherever they were found.
Gone. And she's gone.
It's just a traumatic pause, people. It's fine.
Right.
They can't hear us because she DC'd.
There we go.
She's back.
And that is how you make a lich.
Oh, we know.
So,
let us correct some of those details.
From what you know, Tebrin, recalling going through from your various travels here, a little bit of research, and sort of the knowledge of wars as told through the sort of Drow military prospectus in your academic training, which you apparently paid attention to at least a little bit of.
Occasionally.
The Ryukul during the war with the Dracora Empire, at the end they were kind of ruthlessly hunted down and slaughtered wherever they could be found, and that's what caused them to retreat underground. There was never any historic mention of a surrender per se, and you don't. It was said that they fled underground, but it never really was said where. And you were led to believe that the discovery of this place happened perhaps hundreds of years after the end of the war.
Yeah, right. Because, so yeah, my knowledge of it is that this was also, the player had a feeling, I just wanted to double check it, that they basically lost the war and retreated. And somebody said, wasn't there a scrap of poetry that we got about the monument to the last light? I can't find it in my notes anymore.
Holly?
I'm looking right now.
Begin the search.
There was some sort of something we were given.
Give her a keyword so she can control
Hold
F
on.
her notes.
Yeah, if that was something possible. This might take a while. You might want to,
as Akira leafs through her notebook.
Journal.
So, any questions on the Monument of the Last Light? Great. Remember, inquisitive minds are tomorrow's future. Come on. As she sort of...
Tepern, if I'm ever this enthusiastic about something, please just kill me.
Did you just take a swing at her?
It's just so tempted. In my mind, this is what happened.
What would Heronius say about that?
That's why it's only in my mind.
Oh, all right.
You can sin in your mind.
Only because of my Warhammer hand might be shaking. However, that's the extent
She
of
kind
it.
of turns and heads a little bit further in as you follow along, I'm guessing. You reach an area, sort of a larger rectangular building that's actually a building sort of set out. It's not built into the walls. And it has kind of a domed ceiling to it, and sort of 4 corner posts are out of the otherwise square building. The 2 doors are propped open. They're wooden and reinforced with sort of iron bars and a large sort of circular iron handle ring that holds down there. And looking inside, you see a whole bunch of different sarcophagi in there. Do follow me. But beware, this is a place of reverence and of long-forgotten memories. This is believed to be the resting place of the last of the Rirakul, the last of the Forgotten Elves themselves. We ask that you maintain the silence that is their rest as you enter the Chamber of Ash.
Oh, really?
She sort of walks up the stairs, and you do see there's lots of sort of stone sarcophagi sort of lining either way. There's probably about 3 or 4 dozen in total in this building, and they're kind of like all in a row. There's some that are kind of like up on things, torches put. There's little alcoves and everything as she sort of goes in, kind of.
Oh, honey, don't even tell me how to act.
It was.
Where's the dragon?
Out of respect for the dead, please no questions until we're outside of the Chamber of Ash. It was believed that
Razzle would like to look around, just to look at these graves and this stonework. And does it look like? Well, first off, does it look that original, right? Like, does it look like does anything look like it might have been tampered with? Knowing what I know about gravestones and whatnot.
Make a history roll with advantage.
Thank you.
Because you're a dwarf. Yeah, dwarf.
So 16.
Looking around, and especially at the styles of the stonework itself, it doesn't quite match what you've seen from sort of the various ancient things. You do look at parts of it, and it looks old, but getting closer to it, it looks like it was deliberately aged. Like it was somewhat newly created, and you can kind of almost smell a little bit of kind of a sulfurous smell on some areas that look like they've kind of been deteriorated. It smells almost like some sort of like chemical or something was used to sort of accelerate the aging process on the stone.
I lean over to Nemarius and kind of whisper this to him.
Yes, as an attraction, it's not surprising that the attractions themselves are just fake, poor replicas.
It's like they're making some crappy haunted house.
Well, whatever. As long as this doesn't interfere with our primary mission, guess I'm okay with it.
Okay, we continue on.
All right. she goes on to describe how cremation was the sort of standard ritual procedure for death, and that's why it's called the Chamber of Ash, and that the sarcophagi themselves contain the ashes of the fallen warriors, etc.
Can I insight? Well, hang on. She wouldn't know it was a lie. If it was a lie, she wouldn't know it was a lie.
You can incite her,
like,
unless you've convinced yourself that you don't want to.
No. Well, I'm just trying to think. Like, if this is a story she learned, she wouldn't think that it's a lie, right? Like, if that's the history book she read. I'm trying to get at, like, would I know if that was true or not?
Wait, are we still in the Chamber of Ash, or do we step out of it now?
Yes. If you're wishing to discuss amongst yourselves, you will be shushed while in the Chamber of Ash. But if you go outside, you may speak freely.
I just didn't know if, well, elves that I know of, this is what Roswell's head, is cremation typically their preferred form of putting their bodies, put dead bodies to rest?
Saying elves in general is a pretty broad stroke.
Yeah. Maybe let's put it this way.
Typically,
elves
no.
Of Cora.
Typically,
okay.
No. You also know that usually when you cremate bodies, you don't build full sarcophagi for them.
Thank you. That's okay.
So that's the one. Like, if anything stands out as like, huh? That's the part that would stand out.
Okay. I knew some part of it was not feeling congruent. And then, wait a minute. In my notes from, or like, the maps I'd gotten from my parents, was a Chamber of Ash on there?
Yeah.
Is that something? Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. So this may not be the Chamber of Ash. Or it's a facade. Anyway, keep going.
All right. So after you're kind of walked around through, it takes maybe about 2-3 minutes to kind of go all the way in and kind of walk all the way back out. You come back out onto the street, and you can hear the sound very faintly. These kind of like low, almost like ringing bells, but not like a bell tower ringing or something. Just the occasional kind of like boom, boom. No sort of pattern or rhythm to it at all. Just these kind of low things. And she kind of notices all of your ears perking up a little bit. Oh, I guess we can head that way now. And as she's sort of like backpedaling, walking, kind of like talking to you, motioning. So up ahead, you'll see what are called the listening pools. And these are, of course, an area that was perhaps the favorite of the people who lived here while they did. It's certainly a favorite of mine. And she goes on sort of just continuing her sort of admiration for the aesthetic itself. You see in another kind of circular cleared out area, square, small tea-light candles just twinkling around the edges of a collection of cascading fountains. They're all connected to each other, each kind of flowing by small waterfall down to the next. It is quite beautiful, and along some of them, there are these bowl-shaped basins of various sizes suspended only by a rope kind of in the water as it trickles down, and they're left free to wander within the various currents of the water. And occasionally when these bronze basins gently collide, they make that sort of ringing, melancholy, like bell tone before they just drift off elsewhere in the fountain. And there is sort of a little bit of a plaque in front here as she kind of finishes her spiel. Really quite peaceful.
What does the plaque say?
The plaque says, the Rurikruel constructed the fountain as a memorial to their fallen comrades and believed meditation among the tones of the fountain brought clarity and good fortune. Listen, as they did, find a token of enlightenment in yourself.
I have a question. Who taught you all of this?
It's all in history books. I studied it. I had to study for nigh on a couple of years now. Has it really been that long? It felt like it went by so fast. But yes, there's actually a book that was written, well, I guess ghost written. The Emperor just helped. He didn't actually physically write it down because that would be incredibly tedious and time consuming for an emperor to do. But with the collection of a few writers also helping him, was able to combine all the history that we know and put it all together into one congruent narrative for this place that reflects all the various nuances and beauties of this forgotten culture.
Who are the other curators of this place?
Well, it's funded entirely by Dracorans, because of course it's always great to remember your history and support it. And if you'd like to make a donation to the restoration efforts, you can do so on your way out. The donation bucket isn't really set up right now because they were afraid that a lot of the workers would just take out anything that was in there on their way home from work. But once it's open to the public, it will be. So I do encourage you to come back and place a donation in if you feel so moved. If not, the benevolence of our Emperor will suffice.
So, should we continue?
Yes, I would love it.
Really,
there's
my
more.
question, but
Oh, the best is yet to come. You haven't seen the Temple of the Elders yet.
No, we haven't.
Well, you guys are in for a treat. You all look a little bit tired to me, but this'll perk you right up.
Roswell, by the way, has scorch marks everywhere. I mean, like sooty, like ends of hairs. Just.
Were you on fire for several rounds?
Yes.
All right. So she kind of motions. So I do have to manage your expectations. Though a lot of the rest of this has been beautifully restored, the Temple of the Elders is still in its original state. And unfortunately, might be a little bit dangerous. So we can only view it from afar. But let me tell you, as somebody who's spent many and after hours staring at the wonder of this building, that it is still a satisfying experience, even if you can't get up close. So, without further ado, let's check out the Temple of the Elders. And she kind of actually literally skips off. And you follow her
That provokes, right? That provokes.
No, she actually has
out of my melee.
she actually has some feet where she's just swashbuckler.
Her verbal attacks make her.
Yeah, exactly. Her constant verbal assault. So you head back, and the building's kind of, you can tell there's a very sort of distinct end to all of this well-crafted, well-cleaned, refined stuff. And even like this road itself gets a little bit cracked. Things kind of start to feel a lot more like they would feel for something that would be 300 years old, buried underground, and constantly onslaughted by various sort of tremors and such. And you come up to an area. You can no longer see the back wall sort of out behind. This is sort of huge area into darkness, but you do see maybe about 100 feet away from you, there's a mighty four-sided pyramid, and it stands removed from the actual street itself, towering over all of the other structures that comprise a small section of the city that you're in. The edges of the pyramids where they come together themselves are lined with sloping platforms that peel back like petals from a wilting flower. And atop some of those kind of platforms that come out from it are the remains of statues. Looking at them as you pause, they appear to be creatures, some of them fearsome looking, some of them awe-inspiring, all of them kind of larger than life, supernatural in nature, but all in varying states of disrepair, missing limbs, some of them just like the top half looks like it's just completely missing. Other platforms are just without a statue on them at all. In front, kind of coming out from this pyramid structure towards you, is a partially crumbling entryway that lurches sort of towards the ground on one side, as if it were just sort of on the verge of collapse, but it's buttressed up with lots of sets of sort of sturdy wooden scaffolding, and you can see these large sort of timber braces in against it. Through the arch that's kind of created with that, though skewed off to the side, you see on one face of the pyramid there is a grand set of double doors. The tired bronze on the front of them, it surrenders no reflection of any of the lights that are around you, and sort of just dully kind of waits there. In front of you, about 100 feet from this structure, there's a large kind of barricade that's been built up of crates and other kind of fenced-in things to provide a physical barrier. And on it, there is a sign that looks more hastily crafted than all of the other various signs that you've seen around, which are like sort of careful painted calligraphy. And on it, it says, "Archaeology and restoration in progress. Please enjoy the view from the safety of behind the barricade." And looking around, you see on sort of either side, kind of away from you, are there's two guards who look like they're just members, infantrymen of the Decoran military. They're just sort of standing there, arms crossed, sort of just like looking at you somewhat disinterestedly and just kind of like generally bored.
So this looks like the most authentic thing down here.
I think this is... Hold on a moment. I want to walk up to a guardsman. Hello, we're here on behalf of my father, Langdon. He sent us to take note of how well the restoration work is going inside. So we'll be heading in.
Order the Emperor, no one passes the barricade.
Except those doing renovations and restoration, correct?
From what I understand, my orders, no one goes in, no one comes out unless I receive order from the Emperor himself.
Right.
Langdon, not so much involved in the temple. He does take good care of us, but I'm afraid for your own safety, no one crosses his barricade. I mean, look, the damn thing's falling over. You're gonna get crushed to death. You don't look like somebody who needs to be crushed to death.
I'm trying to work out if I'm being insulted or not. I return to the party.
From afar, can I read any writing on the temple itself?
Make a investigation roll.
17.
From what you can tell, you can't make out any writing to read.
Okay.
It is, I mean, 100 feet and then sort of set back into the darkness is pretty difficult to...
Yeah, just checking. Wow. This is interesting indeed.
I knew you'd like this part.
What's in there, Giovannis?
Close, but I appreciate the effort.
I'm trying to match your tone, and it's...
Well,
great.
That's a great question. I didn't catch your name.
Yeah, what's in there?
Well, it's believed this is where they kept the most important magical relics of their time. Relics they didn't want to fall into the hands of the Dracoran Empire. But we all know how that ended up.
So, if the Empire, clearly won, what's stopping the Empire from going in?
Well, we're here. Renovations and restoration are in progress.
Oh, so the idea is not to just restore the outside, but to go in?
Of course. We want to explore all that this wonderful place has to offer, so we can share it with you, the general public.
I don't think you're going to share what's in there, but that's fine. As if it's...
I have not been inside myself. However, I am told that it is pretty amazing. And
have you seen anyone go inside? Like, has anybody been inside? Do you hear any voices from inside?
Don't hear anyone in there now, but we do know that archaeology and restoration is in progress.
One question: is there a door they're guarding, or is it just an entryway they're guarding?
There's a barricade sort of around. There is no sort of entry and exit point in the barricade itself. It's just built up. It's like a wall, but it's like only about sort of mid-chest height.
I want to tap Tebrin on the shoulder and raise my... not that hard. Just a tap. And raise my eyebrows and angle my head towards the
pyramid of death.
The pyramid of death, and then make a sparkly magical finger motion.
Kendra, you are going to get me killed someday. All right, who precisely is around right now?
There
We've got our tour guide.
2 guards, your tour guide, and your party. And there are other workers, but they're not... The workers kind of ended where the sort of facaded area was.
Please excuse me for a moment. Tebrin needs to get some air. It's rather hot in here. I tug Tebrin around a corner, and then I want to go invisible.
Okay, no. I guess that's what's happening. That wasn't what I was gonna do.
And you want to what? Sorry.
Go invisible.
So you're casting invisibility on both of you?
Well, Tebrin can cast invisibility, right?
I can, yes.
Is that a problem for your spell slots?
That's a level 2, correct?
Yes.
I have a single level 2 spell slot.
Then I will cast invisibility on Tebrin and invisibility on myself, both at level 2. So not a level 3 for 2, but 2 level
2s. Question.
Mechanically, one's gonna disappear as soon as.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay. Concentration.
Yeah. Okay. So I cast at level 3 for 2. That's right. Yeah, level 3.
Before they went invisible, was there any visual cues of the swords doing anything weird? Being in vicinity.
Are you looking at your swords?
I'm looking at the one that Kendra was wearing specifically.
Make an investigation roll.
Oh, that's not that. That's wrong. Ignore that. N- 21.
Nice.
Wait, I'm confused.
I hit intimidation.
21.
Yeah. All right. So, looking at Kendra's sword doesn't appear. Nothing appears to be out of the ordinary. You kind of squint in a little bit closer, and it vanishes from view.
Okay.
I mean, we were out of sight completely when we went invisible. So.
Were you?
I wanted to.
Yes, we went around a corner.
Make a stealth roll, please.
Okay. Looking good.
I disappear off the face of the planet.
Wee moly.
You're so invisible.
I go invisible before the spell hits me.
That was to get
The
out
spell
of
missed.
out of the way. All right. Those of you standing there see Tebrin and Akira, or not Akira, Kendra head off. You kind of watch, and you get the sense that like something is up. The guard that they were talking, or Kendra was talking to first, sort of turns, kind of looking back. But for those of you kind of looking around, paying attention, you notice the other guard's eyes just followed them all the way over to the corner.
Holy shit.
All right. You cast invisibility. What would you like to do now?
All right, how far away from the actual barricade at the moment?
You're probably about 60 feet, because there are no structures or corners sort of in this. It's a large, huge open area that looks like it's just been, part of the cavern has just been like excavated and blown open to clear out this whole temple.
All right, well...
Hang on. Hey, Siora.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't that guard look familiar to you? Did you also go to school with him?
I didn't actually go to any sort of public school. I was
Sure,
homeschooled.
sure, but like maybe
They put
somebody
Kendra in
else?
because they thought it would make her better adjusted, but it didn't
Sure,
quite
but
work
don't you
out.
like totally want to like, you know, maybe like talk to him or something?
He looks kind of bored.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he just like he's looking everywhere. I think wouldn't it be interesting to learn what it's like to like work down here and stuff, like part of the tour?
Not tremendously, but I will cover for Tebrin.
Please, my eyes have desperation on him.
So, Sierra just sort of turns, and you can see her like go up to the guard and just be like,
I'll try and play wing woman as best I can.
She just like pushes you away. She like,
and I stand back there.
She like puts her hand on his shoulder, and then you can see her kind of like sit up on top of the barricade next, and she's kind of like, her legs sway back and forth. She kind of like leans in and laughs a little bit.
Okay, that's all.
I'm gonna whisper to Roswell. Keep them distracted. Don't let them talk to me. And I want to cast something, but after they do their thing.
Okay.
Or no, I take that back. There's a reason why I said that.
You already ended your
casting
turn,
a
my friend.
spell. I'm sorry.
Fireball is showering?
Clairvoyance is 10 minutes. 10-minute casting time, but I want to cast that.
You wanted to keep them distracted for 10 minutes?
Well, no, I'm just no.
All right. So, do you have 100 gold piece focus, or a jeweled horn for hearing, or a glass eye for seeing?
I do have my owl.
So the material components of this consume something valued at 100 gold pieces, essentially.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Do they consume it, or do they just require it?
I don't think this. Yeah, it doesn't consume, but you need something expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. I think it's worth it.
All right. Well, you just have to have it, right?
Oh yeah, I have it.
Okay.
You have a focus worth at least 100 gold, a jeweled horn, or a glass
It
eye?
just. I mean, we just have to have the money, right?
Yes.
No, you need to have the specific thing at once. I don't know. It's up to Casey's ruling.
That's DM's discretion.
Yeah. So I'd say if you deduct 100 gold, you can have. I mean, you guys are high enough level that
Would have gone shopping.
you would have gotten this kind of stuff. So, all right. So this takes verbal, somatic, and material components. So if you begin casting this, everyone is going to know you're casting a spell.
Oh, I can't do it quietly.
you are still standing out in the open in front of two guards who, as lovely as Ciora is, you're still visible, right? So she can't necessarily prevent them from looking at you. He's not, the one that Ciora is with is not looking at you right now. He appears to be otherwise distracted.
I was hoping that by my, hey, distract them, I could cast this.
I mean, you can certainly try, but just be aware you're casting a 10-minute ritual, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna try it.
Okay. So you begin sort of taking out your focus and going through kind of chanting through the spell. We'll see what happens there. The rest of you, what would you like to do? A lot can happen in 10 minutes with all of this.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna just peek around the corner first. What are the guards doing?
One of them seems to be engaged in conversation with Ciora. You can kind of tell that Ciora has turned wiles up to 11, and in effectiveness between the range of 1 and 20, she's at about 21 right now.
That's my girl.
And the other guard is sort of, he's closer to the rest of the party, but is just sort of generally looking around. He looks bored and he's not like actively going around, but he's not being distracted by any means.
I want to begin sneaking towards the barricade.
Yeah, and both of you do see Akira sort of beginning to do something that resembles spellcasting to you.
Yes, I'm going to start stealthing my way, and then once I'm within like maybe 20 feet of that guard, I want to cast like 10 feet in the opposite direction of where we're going. I want to cast Prestidigitation and make a sound of like buckets falling over.
If you cast a spell, does it cancel?
Fuck, you're right. And Tubman would know that because he has he has a spell. So never mind, I'm not going to do that.
Why? Why didn't you let that happen?
I was sitting here letting it happen.
I just used a level 3 spell slot.
Alright, I'm going to roll stealth.
I am too. I'm going to
stealth with it. You already have advantage.
You already had advantage.
Whatever. Oh. You can Tides of Chaos it if you want.
No,
did you when you cast?
I have to wild magic. Actually, you're right.
A unicorn. Here it comes.
Be a 1. Oh, it's so close.
There you go.
Well, you're at advantage.
No, that was the wild magic from casting invisibility.
Oh, okay.
All right, so 24 for Tebrin and 15.
I am going to spend 2 sorcery points here to bend luck just for an extra 1d4.
Nice. Another 4 on there, so 19 total for you. All right.
And I'm going to head out, keeping a weather eye on the undistracted guard.
All right. There is no weather near the undistracted guard at the moment.
Okay, good. And start heading towards the pyramid.
All right. Between you and the pyramid is a barricade. First is sort of a chest-high fence, and then behind that there are other sort of crates and things more loosely stacked up. So it's sort of like fence, and then it looks to you like that it's probably a whole bunch of supplies that have kind of been just placed, like that's where they're being stored, but it's also a physical barrier. So you need to clear both of these things before you can get sort of up into the next sort of 80 feet to get to the thing.
Okay. Is there any place that looks less perilous?
I mean, none of it looks like perilous per se, but it's just stuff you have to climb over.
Like whatever looks like it would be the least disturbed by.
All right, make a investigation roll.
$19.
All right. So keeping in mind that both of you cannot see each other anymore either.
I know.
So yes, thank you.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
literal definition. All right.
Is there a place where I can easily cross the improvised barrier?
It doesn't look like any particular place is more or less good or bad.
I would like to cross the improvised barrier.
All right. Go ahead and make an acrobatics check to see if you can kind of nimbly move your way through things.
Is this the entire thing, or is this one of the two things?
This will be the entire thing.
Okay, then I will Tides of Chaos this instead.
Didn't you already Tides of Chaos?
No, because I already had advantage. I was not Tides of Chaosing nothing.
All right.
12.
All right.
The whole thing just knocks over.
Yeah.
Wait. I'm gonna bend luck. So another 2 points. It's gonna be a 1, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I've accepted this.
No.
Nice 4. All right. So, Tebrin, as you very sort of deftly hop over the first thing, and you're just surveying the more makeshift barricade there. You notice that one of the sort of smaller boxes placed on the top just sort of goes and sort of starts falling, and then it hits one other piece of equipment there. It looks like the handle of a shovel or something. It just kind of spins, and it catches on the edge. It spins over the gap, just teeters on the edge for a moment.
Can I get it?
No, you're about 10 feet away from it.
Oh, okay.
And it teeters on the edge, and then just kind of like catches its balance and just stays there. And it slid right down and sort of spiraled around the handle of the shovel and just sort of like nestled itself in without falling or hitting anything.
Everyone's gonna very quietly have a heart attack.
Yeah, it's definitely like one of those like. Okay. And the box itself seemed to move on its own accord.
On its own.
Okay. During this time, I think I want to just continue to loudly talk to Javanis, just with endless questions, just to continue this dialogue of noise and talking. And
if you had one word to categorize her flavor of conversation, it would be endless.
Yeah, and it's still very awkward, but I'm going to continue this. Eventually I'm going to ask maybe, what kind of clothes the Rivakor wore and the fabrics and whatnot to at least bring it back to my wheelhouse somewhat. But we'll continue.
Fair enough. As you can hear Roswell chatting away there.
It's painful for everyone, just to be super clear.
Excellent.
Okay, I am also going to try to move over the barricade.
Acrobatics, please.
Okay. $17.
All right. You kind of think you found a good spot. You step up onto a crate. There's like a little bit of you redistribute your weight and just sort of and hop over to the other side.
Okay. And I'm gonna walk forward. How far am I from the non-distracted guard at the moment?
So from the edge of the barricade that the side of your party is on, all the way through all the obstacles, it's about 10 feet. So you're probably about 20 feet or so from the guard.
Okay, I'm gonna start saying very quietly, Kendra.
I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to whisper near the guards.
And I'm gonna keep going towards the pyramid.
I'm gonna. Actually, I don't know where she is,
Yeah,
so
yes,
I can't.
Any idea where you are?
Gonna head towards the pyramid.
Me too.
All right. As you begin to walk, it does get quite a bit darker, as there's no sort of built-in lights to any of this. What you saw was just from the light reflecting back from the city upon the front face of this. You come up first, maybe about 60 feet now from the barrier in this archway that's kind of crumbling and falling over it. You see it is along the top of it, even though chunks are missing. You see that sort of ancient elvish arcane script written through, and it does look like somebody has gone through and put supports all around it. You can see that it's a bit more extensive than it looked on the inside, and you do, now that you're up close with your dark vision, you can see that off to one side, the walls sort of, it looked like the cavern, sort of the rocks had come in, and there's a crater there that's maybe about 30 feet or so from the actual structure itself. That's just a fairly deep crater, and from what you can tell, it looks like as a result of whatever caused that crater was what basically knocked the archway itself sort of over. And the crater itself is maybe about 30 feet in diameter, and then there's just like a huge chunk missing of the cavern wall itself. So you can go either down kind of through the crater, you can go under the arch, which is kind of collapsing, or you can kind of go all the way out and sort of weave your way through the scaffolding out around to the other side.
You said there was script. Can I read it?
You can certainly try. What, do you speak?
I mean, I speak Elven.
Okay. It is sort of, make an Arcana check.
Boy.
So it's Elvish script, but it's also sort of written. You believe it's written to be functional, not decorative, and sort of trying to piece together some words that you know. It seems like it's some sort of protection enchantment or something, but large sections of it are missing. So you're guessing whatever magic it had is gone, but it was probably something that was made to protect the entry archway. As you're reading that and thinking, you do recall back to the Chamber of Ash and the means by which that was protected. Very sharply punctuates your memories.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you were talking about earlier?
All right. I'm going to avoid the tunnel. And does it look like I can get through the scaffolding without too much trouble?
You kind of have to, it's haphazardly done. So you kind of have to weave in and out of things.
Okay, well, hold on just a second. All right, so the entrance, standing where I am right now, all I can see is that there's this collapsing tunnel with the protective, or what was a protective spell.
It's a big archway that has script sort of up over the top. Part of it has broken. It's sort of fallen over. Parts of it are missing, and then more of it's kind of fallen over. But you can still kind of make your way through underneath where the arch would be, because it's maybe at about like 45 degrees, and then there's this big structure built to hold it up. And then the other side, it just sort of dips down about 20 feet into a large kind of jagged crater of rocks, and which is pretty dark. And then that kind of goes out and around.
So, but looking down, like through the tunnel.
Looking through the archway, it's not really a tunnel. It's just like an art. If you were looking at this and it was pristine, it would be the pyramid, a fairly large open area, and then like a pathway that goes to the pyramid with a big sort of like
an awning almost.
An arch over it. No, it's like a whole separate structure.
Okay. All right.
I'm
just like
while this is going on, I'm already going into the crater.
Okay.
I have no idea where she is. So.
Yeah. All right, so headed down into the crater, you sort of immediately notice that the crater's covered in some sort of soot. It smells of sulfur, and there's lots of sort of jagged rocks and debris. As you go down in, it sort of like little pieces of the debris scatter down into it. I mean, it's not necessarily climbing checks, but it is difficult terrain as you kind of go through, and you can kind of work your way through and around out onto the other side, getting close to the bottom of the temple proper itself. And you do see the pyramid comes down, and in the center of it, kind of beyond where you would have walked straight through the arch, is this sort of large extension of the structure itself, kind of like a rectangle that juts out of the pyramid. And in the center of that kind of elaborately carved thing are two very large bronze doors.
Are the bronze doors on the same side as this structure or on a different side?
Here, I'll doodle for you.
I'm sorry, I just can't picture it.
Do the crumbling statues of creatures look like a phoenix and a leviathan?
Make an investigation roll with disadvantage because you're so far away.
That's true. I can deal with that. Oh.
Hard to tell at this distance. All right, so top-down view. This is kind of like a cavern wall over here, right? And then there's barricade comes out here. The pyramid itself. Obviously, none of this is to scale. Is like this. And there are other pieces of rock kind of out in over here. Like this is sort of the cave, right? And so the arch, or actually the crater is here. The arch is a separate structure like here. And then there's scaffolding support stuff here. And if you're going to look at the arch sort of front on, if it was like normally set up.
Oh, okay.
It's like this. Right?
Yeah, okay.
And so the writing you saw was up.
And it's completely freestanding.
It's completely freestanding from the thing, but that's how it would be. It's currently like...
Yeah, slouched. Okay.
Slouched over and broken a bit. Like collapsed in on its...
Having a bad day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Being bolstered.
And then where's the door? The two doors.
There's a little area.
Okay. Okay. Now I've got it.
Right there.
Now I've got it.
So Kendra, you are you kind of climbed out the thing about there. And Tebrin, you're currently like here.
Okay. So yeah,
And would Tebrin have realized I'd gone in the crater when the rocks started crumbling around?
What's your perception, Tebrin?
15. 15.
Yes. No, you wouldn't, because you're on 19 for stealth right now.
Okay. Alright, now that I know what this all actually looks like, I'm also going to go through the crater.
Okay. So, again, just kind of climbing down carefully. As you come back up, Kendra, you feel just a bump as you kind of lurch forward a little bit. Tebrin, you feel like you've hit something invisible.
There you are. I thought you had completely disappeared. Face of the planet.
How? I am invisible.
Come on. I'm gonna see if I can just like grab Kendra's wrist or something and just like tow her along.
All right.
And head up, out, and just like check the ground once we're kind of up on solid ground to look for anything that looks trap-like.
All right. Give me an investigation roll.
$17.
All right. As you sort of come around to the backside, you do see that the ground leading up, there is a set of a few kind of tiers of stairs. Doesn't go up very high, but just kind of like platforms that build up to this door. And in front, in a sort of like a semicircle arc to where the doors are, so like the doors would swing out sort of over this. You do see, in a curved pattern, there are 4 sort of carved out squares that go kind of leading up, and in the center of each of those is a hole.
Okay, so is this a sprung trap that I'm seeing?
It doesn't necessarily look like a trap to you.
Okay.
But they're definitely...
Oh, you said there's 4 of them?
There's 4 of them, and they have holes in the center. And they're definitely carved out, and you do see that there is sort of like arcane writing around them.
Alright, so 4 tiles leading up to the door.
Can we read the writing at all?
You both speak Elvish?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
You recognize the 4 phrases.
Is it the same?
Elemental 4 phrases.
Alright.
I want to, just out of curiosity, try putting a sword in a hole.
I can't see what she's doing.
You only have... It's only 1 sword.
All right.
Sure. What could possibly go wrong here?
So, from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Where are you putting the sword?
I'll put it in the one that is water. The one that is water.
So you walk over third from left, and slide the sword. It does go down all the way to the hilt, and you kind of didn't realize it at sort of looking just the top down, and it is kind of dusty, but the hilt does kind of have a nice indentation that it just sort of sits in, and it fits in.
And I will take it back out as I assume nothing happens.
As you pull on it, the sword does not move.
Right on.
Called it.
Excellent.
Called it in the chat. If those were.
Now I'm curious if it's locked in a it is done kind of way, or it is like a...
Was yours charged?
No idea.
I don't think so. Or at least we don't know.
We don't know.
The only one we know...
It could not be.
Yeah, the only one we knew was charged was the one that Kroot took with him.
But for reference, this is a sword that was in a water elemental.
Oh, motherfucker.
So
Okay.
it
I don't know
could
any of this,
theoretically
but oh
be
my God.
charged, but
Okay.
whether it is charged, who knows?
Well-
Darius stands up and says, "Language."
Alright, well, I don't know any of this. So I'm gonna keep going towards the doors. Is there any...
You do see that as soon as the sword leaves her hand,
then
you
it's...
do see
Yeah.
all of a sudden just a sword appears, because you're examining this area, so you see a sword appear there.
Kendra,
Tebrin.
is that your sword?
It's a sword.
Anymore.
It's also stuck.
Did you just give the Empire one of the key swords?
No, I gave the door one of the key swords.
The door, which is controlled by the Empire.
But I think the door is controlled by itself. Well,
All right.
At least we know it works. And now for next time, we'll know not to put all the swords in. It's a good thing I was smart enough to try with just one sword.
All right, I am going to take a second to walk over and examine this and see if there's any, like, it doesn't seem like it's a mechanism, or does it seem like it is magically locked in place?
Make an Investicarna roll.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
I'm gonna make an
If you want to see if it's a mechanism, it's an investigation. If you want to see if it's a magical force, it's an Arcana roll.
I'm gonna make an investigation. 18.
18. Nice. Looking, you kind of, do you touch it, try to move it at all, or?
Yeah, gently. I'm gonna try to keep my fingers away from like where it goes in as much as possible.
Okay, as you do try to like tug it, move it around, you notice that it is able to rotate.
Okay, don't do that.
Don't do what?
But will not budge. So it feels like it doesn't feel that there's like movement that you can pull it up or anything.
Get a jiggle.
It feels like it's like fused in place, like it's just part of the stone now. But when you felt that little bit of rotation the little bit of rotation, that to you felt like a mechanism.
Should I break it?
No.
Or try to? We don't want them getting this open.
How are you gonna break it? It's a magical weapon.
I'm not talking about the weapon. I'm talking about the mechanism that's holding it.
I feel like you can't do that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I haven't tried yet.
Here's a question. Is it going to be loud?
I have no idea.
Well, maybe you should have an idea.
Does it seem like something I could do without it being loud? Do I see a way to try to... I have
no idea what you're going to try to do.
Try to see if there's some way that I can bust up the rotating part of the mechanism.
It's stone.
It's the rotating thing is like a column of stone that goes down into the ground
all the way
beneath
down.
you. So like
pickaxe handy?
It's like the hilt of the sword is now the handle above which you can turn it, essentially. So whatever mechanism it is down there, and you only turned it like half a degree. So
here, I got you tomorrow.
Deleted the archway.
All right.
That's my sword. It's also sort of mushroom-like.
Oh crap! Mushrooms! Oh no!
Well, I don't really have anything that I can do about this.
Well,
so I'm going to briefly clutch my head in my hands and then stand up and go look at the door.
I solved the door puzzle.
You certainly did that.
I'm getting better at this.
Really? Because I'm just getting flashbacks to Eridor.
Why?
I have that same kind of building feeling of dread in my chest.
All right. So looking at the door itself, it looks like it was hammered from a sheet of bronze, and that's sort of laid over something. You can see there's lots of like spikes that have been driven through the edges of it into whatever. There are no handles on the door.
Do the spikes look like they're decorative, or like
they look like
they're
they look like they're construction. They were in the fabrication of the door. That was how they attached the sort of bronze veneer to it.
Okay.
They do close very sort of precisely, lined up in the center. They're probably about 8 feet tall-ish, and maybe about 4 feet wide, both of them, making the whole thing kind of 8 by 8.
Okay, I'm gonna take a look around for any more arcane anything.
looking around, there are various sort of arcane writings and such all over the temple.
Okay, anything that seems to be that jumps out at me as something I recognize or seems to be directly related to the door?
All of it is phrases similar to the kind of like elemental little, I don't know what you call those.
Yeah. The phrases.
All the little good elemental good trulies that that go through there, and it just sort of expounds upon sort of the interrelationship of the elements. A lot of the statements kind of go around in like sort of kind of like a circular logic of this flows into this flows into that, so on and so forth. It's all somewhat esoteric in nature. Like they were almost written in there in sort of ornamental fashions to be decoration themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So those all look like decorations, and I'm not seeing anything else that looks like practical.
Yes. All right. Let's
5-minute break.
Take a 5-minute break. And you can all ponder what you will do next.
Oh,
Won't we?
Gee.
5-minute break, kids. Wait, who left and came back? No!
Nobody left and came back.
Definitely wasn't Tamara.
Definitely.
Wait, hold on. We could turn all of our videos off and fix it if we really wanted to.
Wait, it looks fixed for me still. Nope.
It is not.
Recording is... Yeah.
It's delayed. I am the same.
All right, well, I'll be back. Can I turn my video off as well? Is that gonna... It's already broken, right?
I hate all of you so much.
Yes or no?
I mean, it's already messed up. So we can just...
I'm going to use this time to both take a break and reset my router, because that's 2 times already.
All right. Well, if you turn your video off, we'll just all have to go in order, and it'll take a second to get the right people. But
all right, to break.
Oh my God.
we're everywhere. Yeah, everybody go to the bathroom, get some snacks, and we'll come back and see just how screwed up the party has made everything. If you haven't been following this story, because we've only been streaming this is now the 2nd session. So the temple that they're at now is said to have some kind of mystical, magical, giant artifact of unspeakable power capable of destroying everything, blah, 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 blah. That sort of prophecy-laden intent. And there are 4 swords, four swords, each of which need to be charged by elemental energy, earth, air, water, fire, and those are said to be the key swords which unlock the temple. So the implication with what just happened is they theoretically have potentially just put one of the keys into the temple itself. We will see if that's actually true or not as our story evolves. But previously when discussed, the party said they wanted nothing to do with opening it, and they would try to destroy the swords and prevent anyone from getting in. Also, as a footnote, they did find Roswell, who Cookie is playing, dwarf character, the Death Domain cleric. She is her parents were archaeologists that left her with an inheritance, which was the maps of all of these sort of caverns in the Underdark that have all these places and such in them that led them to where they are now. And so in their last writings, they said that they were exploring, not sort of back in the ancient times when all this happened, but in more recent times. And the reason Roswell was sort of given up for adoption is they couldn't raise her while they were doing all of these archaeological expeditions in the dangerous Underdark. But it is rumored through various bits of information that they're found that her parents may actually be still inside the temple, and that the last people who opened it decided to try to lock the things that opened it, lock all the keys within. But what they didn't know and what the party discovered is there can be more than one set of keys once keys are used. So there is a possibility that Roswell's parents are in there. There's a possibility that they'll unleash the greatest evil the world has ever seen, but they've already created a lich, so, you know, it's like, that's a little diluted storyline. We don't really know. Or there's a possibility that something even crazier could happen. We don't know. And since it's only Holly and I now, it's going to be a lot different. We're going straight to the library. And
that's right.
It'll just
oh my god, I'm here.
Damn it. We're going to go to the library.
Who's next?
Right back. Who's on third?
Yes.
I don't know what order we signed on in originally. So I don't know is the answer to that question.
I wanted to go to the library. I think it's the perfect time. I shouldn't be shocked, but I'm shocked. Are you there? I can't tell.
I am here, yes.
I'm here, but I'm chewing.
Oh my god, I'm freaking out.
Why are you freaking out?
Because all these things that are happening. I can't believe. Well, I can believe, but I can't believe that Kendra put the sword in. Oh. I mean, I can believe it, but I don't wanna.
I don't wanna.
And this is not at all what I expected. It is so unexpected.
Did you like how you guys showed up? But everyone was like, why are you here? As if your arrival was unexpected.
Just a little.
Un poquito. Arrival unexpectito. If you're enjoying the lovely sound effects in the background, some of those are provided by Sirenscape. Thanks, Sirenscape, for giving our D&D adventure a little bit more auditory drama. Other sounds are provided by Kevin MacLeod and Public Domain. Free music, lots of great stuff on there. Check it out. I'm not sure if this fulfills my obligation by copyright law, but at least I tried. It is great music. I use it all the time. It's public domain. You just have to offer credit. So, Holly, you were not the first video person. I was not the first either.
All right, I'll leave.
So we need to both unvideo.
You just turn off your video, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still here. I just turned it off.
Tamora, I think you were first.
I will start the video. Dun, dun, dun.
And then who was next? Cookie? Yeah. And then was it me or was it Beth?
I think it was Beth.
Or Holly, you were last.
Well, yes, I was last.
I believe the order has changed since I had to leave Zoom.
Well, we know how we're going to spend the next 45 minutes.
Yay!
Well, that all being said, all my resets were accomplished, so yay.
Nice.
Sorry. Technical difficulties. You should have like a source that's just the picture technical difficulties that you can turn on and off during times like this.
Our audio is echoing. Let's put this on and it'll take 10 minutes.
Wait, what's this?
I'm back.
All right, Beth, you're next up for video.
Oh,
and then me, and then Dora, and then Holly.
Surprise!
And then Holly?
Nope, Dora.
Dora.
Me?
With
And
our
then
cameras
Holly.
combined.
Perfect.
Voltron.
Are any of
Did I
these
say
correct?
what?
No, Marius is correct. I'm correct.
Tebrin
Oh.
is definitely. Oh,
Nope.
Nope.
Nobody
What was
nobody
that?
leave.
don't answer that.
We're moving some videos.
Moving.
Keep those videos moving.
Raw video.
Video
Luna.
high.
It's like we're Brady bunching, kind of.
Luna, you don't like citrus, you're a cat.
I'm
Then
not a
one
cat.
day the DM met their players, and they knew.
She's gonna like citrus just to spite you.
We did it. We're
She says,
back.
"No,
that
no,
didn't take
it's-
that long. Good job,
This
us.
is human food,
High
therefore I
five,
must.
stream. Thank you for your patience. We hope everyone has urinated, has drank their fill.
Urinated.
How descriptively inappropriate.
This glass is actually pure green. That's why you can see through it.
Ew, what are you drinking?
Holly,
Also,
Now getting the
green.
joke.
Something's also green inside. Wait, what?
Excellent.
Wait.
I'm a
I
slod.
didn't get it.
So, what is your
What'd
quest?
you do?
When we last
mean-
left off, people were sticking swords in things,
I mean, now we've
but
put one
not
sword
in the way God intended.
Now that one sword's stuck, you might as well put them all in, right?
Oh god.
Neat. Okay. I think we should go before we reappear.
It's only been 2 to 3 minutes. We have 57 more to go. We
Can
can
you see
make
how long is it actually?
we can make so many more mistakes in that time.
Yeah, it hasn't
That's what
been
I'm worried about.
it hasn't been 10 minutes yet, by the way.
Is it 10 minutes or an hour?
I don't know how long the spell
No,
is, but
invisibility is an hour. She was
Yeah.
talking to Holly.
it hasn't been 10
Okay.
minutes left.
Gotcha.
That's or next. So
All right then. Where are we going now?
Well, I guess there's nowhere further to go, right? So we could either go back or
It's probably best if we don't disappear for too long anyway. Because, I mean, we can explain it, but you're not going to like the explanation. And neither will your sister.
me and Tebrin were kissing.
Sure, that's exactly what I was thinking.
This is amazing.
That's exactly what everybody's going to presume, yes.
all right, what are you two lovebirds doing?
Heading back as quick as possible to hope they don't ask the question of where we were.
All right. Since you're heading back quickly, make your stealth rolls just normally.
Well, I mean,
No advantage
not
because there's.
speed.
No, you
but
said
okay.
you're heading back as quickly as possible.
Okay, Casey.
Well, I'm completely unbothered by any of this, so I'm going to take mine at advantage. I'm strolling. Ugh.
All right,
Gross.
16 and an 18. And I need one last acrobatics check to clear the barricade. Don't roll like Galrosh, people.
Ah!
All right. Here's where it falls apart.
Oh god. Who?
I'm gonna leave that. I think, based on my assessment of previous rolls, and praying of Casey not changing the DC, I'm gonna leave the 15.
All right, so as both of you kind of head back over, Tebrin just pretty easily to hop up over. Kendra taking a little bit more time on either side. You do manage to go unscathed, sort of casting a sideways glance at that box that almost ended your adventure before it began. You both clear that and can clear the other barrier.
Gonna head back to the original, whatever alley we went in.
All right.
And I am going to become an unwilling creature and reappear.
I am also going to become an unwilling creature and reappear.
All right.
As soon as she reappears, I wink at her.
Oh.
As you are both back, you can see your party still there. Akira looks like her spell is very closely going to come to its conclusion, as one of the guards is just like watching the group puzzled. You can see Siora on the other side is like super close to the other guard. She's kind of like resting her hand on his shoulder, and then occasionally like puts her head on his shoulder, and then like slaps him in the chest and laughs. It kind of echoes through the cavern.
I'm going to walk back around the corner.
All right.
I've taken up a statue of David.
So, Javanis, you said they use like 4 sets of forks at dinner?
Sometimes upwards of 12.
Holy moly.
Would it be like 1 fork per bite? Like, that's just, how would that work?
That's so
Well,
few bites.
I'm only half elvish, but I do believe most of them aren't even used.
Wow, it's just kind of like a status thing, right? Like, wow.
Right.
How many forks do you use on your dinner table?
Well, we're rationed 1 fork. So 1.
I mean, really, you don't need more than that. Hey, have you turned around the corner?
Yeah.
They're coming
Oh,
Hey, Akira, what are you doing? You're muttering and...
As you hear that, Akira,
down.
your spell completes.
Yes.
I don't remember what spell you were casting, but
I cast
It's a
clairvoyance
very long
on,
time ago.
clairvoyance on
For an in-game
the other side of the door. It is a 1 mile distance thingy. And I choose seeing.
all right.
Only you could see anything that we had done. You can't.
You create an invisible
blocked.
sensor within range of a location familiar to you, a place you have visited or seen before, or in an obvious location that is unfamiliar to you, such as behind a door, around a corner, in a grove of trees. So the grove of trees, is that where you're aiming?
No.
You know, the underground trees.
Sensor remains in place for duration. It can't be attacked or otherwise interacted with. When you cast a spell, you choose seeing or hearing. So you choose seeing, so you can't hear. As your action, you can switch between seeing or hearing. Creature that can see the sensor, such as a creature benefiting from see invisibility, sees luminous intangible orb. All right. What is your? Do you have dark vision?
Good question.
You're a dragon, of course you have dark vision.
Sure. I don't know where that's at on here, actually. Features, traits.
Do dragonborns have dark vision?
Nope.
Wait,
I already know the answer to this.
I don't. That's a good question. Where is the seeing stuff on D&D Beyond?
It's in your race stuff.
Where's my race stuff?
Dragonborns do not have dark vision.
Oh, well, that's cool.
It's in features and traits right at the bottom.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But you have like light vision, so that's good.
So, as you turn vision, you see darkness. Make a perception roll for me. At disadvantage.
Okay. Perception.
All right.
Man, everything is so slow for me. 6.
You see a tiny little sliver of light.
Okay. That's it, though. Can I switch it to hearing?
You can indeed switch to hearing. Make another perception roll.
Is this at normal? Or
It's normal, yes. Yeah.
7?
All right.
We're doing awesome today.
Yeah.
As you just stand there focusing, those of you watching, her eyes are just kind of like whited over. As you can, looks like she's trying to like listen for things, but doesn't seem responsive to her environment around her for the moment. You're very faintly, can't make out words, a male voice.
Can I understand the language that they're speaking? Common, well, you know that. I don't know why I see that. Deep speech, draconic goblin.
You can't make out what they were saying.
Oh, God. Somebody is in there. Okay. Do I gather any other useful information in any sort of way?
No, you can continue to listen if you. I mean, it lasts for a little while, doesn't it?
Yeah. Also good
Up to
question.
10 minutes.
Okay. I want to switch back to seeing one more time, and then if
Okay.
I still can't see anything, switch back to hearing to listen up for a while.
Your view of things hasn't changed. You do see the one tiny sliver of light you see, you're guessing is probably about, I don't know, it's something far away from where the sensor is itself.
Okay.
But otherwise, there's no light. But it looks like there might be like a light source, and you're seeing through like the sliver of a door, maybe, or something.
And the male voice doesn't sound familiar to me. I haven't heard it before.
Nope. And it's not like constantly talking. You just sort of heard it say something, and then.
Okay.
went
I'll
away.
just keep listening for a bit.
Okay. The voice does, as you all sort of like stand there waiting. Does anyone else want to do anything while she's...
I mean, Tebron's gonna get antsier and antsier the longer that he watches Siora flirt with the guard, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm trying not to attract attention to Akira, so continuing my blathering conversation of, I'm sure we moved on to some type of, what flowers meant what in, this culture.
Yeah.
Peonies really meant you hated their dinner? That's terrible.
Well, they were typically served as a garnish to mask flavor. So if you brought them with you, it usually meant you didn't like what was being served, or at least how it tasted, and you'd put it on the food. So it was generally frowned upon.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
We continue.
You do hear the voice a couple more times in the 10 minutes. You can't make out the language. You can't make out what it's saying. But it's sort of just distant and muted. Like it's not. It's like listening to a voice through like a wall or something.
All right, but whomever's in there can see in the dark. Okay.
Or they can at least speak in the dark.
Okay. I'll come out of my clairvoyance
All right.
and act like nothing has happened.
And so that is why historically you can't bring a lemur into the archives anymore. Who
Oh
would
my
have
God.
thought?
I know. I mean, a lemur totally makes sense to bring to a library. I mean, they both start with L.
It's alphabetical.
I know, right?
I mean, well, we've been here an awful lot of time. I'm sorry. I have a gift to prattle on. Apparently you do too. Maybe I can sort of get your address. We can hang out later. This has been great for me.
That's so specific.
You know, absolutely. I can't wait.
Great. Well, in a few more weeks, I'll be able to return to the surface, so I'll look you up then.
Sounds awesome.
Heading to the party.
I've been staying with the Havels, so absolutely, I'll see you there. I'm sure
Perfect.
you're welcome anytime. I don't know if you've seen the inside of their house. It's pretty big.
I wasn't allowed inside as a child, especially after the fire.
You will be now when I boop her on the nose. Boop. You will be now.
She's gonna show up at the house that, by the way, you're not allowed into because you're all horrible to her parents. She's like, "Hi, I'm here to see my good friend Roswell. You know, the dwarf." And they're gonna be like, "Get out."
She doesn't know my name
Kill
yet.
Your video went away.
Who's?
Yours.
Yours, Beth.
Oh, really?
You went invisible.
You can
cast
tell
a
by looking
spell.
at the videos.
I have mine hidden because looking at myself is distressing.
What? I think you hid it from all of us, though.
Hmm.
It's amazing.
All right. Well, I'm sort of in the right place here. Actually, everybody's kind of close. Kind of, sort of, maybe.
Adjacent.
Am I back?
Yep.
Yes.
Fuck my life.
Just wait for it. It's gonna be okay.
All right. Well,
There we
two
go.
of you are in the right spot.
Good news, I'm Kendra again.
Bad news, you're
You're the
Kendra
best character.
again. Sorry, folks. We're experiencing some technical difficulties.
Do we experience anything else?
Yes, we experience social difficulties as well.
I think technical difficulties is the name of this group, correct?
No,
It's-
we're the cool squad.
Cool squad. Okay.
All right, we're back in our places. You do hear, as you're starting to wrap up, you do hear a little bit more of a commotion a bit further. Your guide, she kind of turns from the nose boop as she looks over. Oh, well, a little bit earlier than expected, but I do think your father's here. Supply run wasn't expected, but you know, he's always a little bit more than punctual, so we do appreciate that here, especially with the only one fork. I'll take you to him. Come on. She just sort of turns. Do you follow her?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll stay in the back, though.
Hey, Akira, remember when that bartender gave me a fork?
Oh,
Do you-
yeah.
Do you think he gave me his only fork?
Of course. Because who owns more than one fork?
I think
Oh my
maybe
God.
she was talking about the fact that the forks are rationed down here and not up on the surface where she lives. Probably
don't
not in
know.
poverty.
I think it was his only fork. I think it's very special.
Maybe
Club people are really weird.
maybe you know, to say thanks to your newfound best friend, you could maybe give her a second fork.
I rummage through my bag and I go and I hand her. Hey, go listen, just in case you. Oh God. Yeah. You know, I give her the other fork just because I'm like, what if she doesn't get it? I want to make sure that I want to thank her for her time, and I give her a fork.
You gave away your fork.
Thanks. This is the first thing anyone's ever tipped me. And
You're welcome.
you walk back out and to the sort of first area where the statue was, headed back out. You can see there is sort of like a large tunnel that comes in there that does kind of fork off in a couple of different ways. And you do notice the donations box that was set up there. And as she walks by, she just sort of smiles at you and says, "All donations go to the Emperor," and drops it in the box.
How far she walked?
What do you mean?
I guess I want to pull it back out if that's where she's
Oh,
gonna put it.
It doesn't fit all the way into the box because it's meant for like money, but it is sort of like the tip of its.
All right, I pull it back out.
All right, make a
take
sleight
it
of
back.
hand check. See if you
Will
can pull it
do.
back out as you are now trying to take something out of the donations box. All right, as the rest of the party progresses past, you're just trying to pull it out, and it's sort of stuck there.
Oh
God damn it, Kendra! I wanted that fork.
For what? What could you possibly want a fork for?
no! It's
Fork.
sentimental.
I'm eating, and this weird guy at a club gave it to me. It's fine. It's fine. Bye, fork.
Don't blame me just because you weren't able to convince her to hold on to it.
So, moving forward, you do see at the edge of the mouth of the tunnel, now that you've sort of gone past a little bit, it is lit by a large brazier, and you do see rail tracks just on the ground, and the presence of, you hear a quiet neigh of a horse, and you come forward a little bit more to see that there is a wagon that's on sort of on the tracks, if you will, and it's being pulled by a team of horses, and it looks like it has a whole bunch of different crates, and 3 or 4 people are now starting to unload it, and you all see there kind of dressed nicely, sort of like half fashion, half function, is Langdon Havel, Kendra's dad, as he kind of looks up at all of you. Girls, you certainly... How did you get down here?
We went through drow territory through the caves.
Wow. You could have just asked. I would have maybe
You were
brought...
down here.
Well, I'm glad you're all right. That's... I mean, there's a reason that all of those caverns have been blocked off. Why are you down here?
We were worried about the tremors, and now we're worried about very many other things.
Well, I suppose you're a lot like your mother in that respect. You do worry quite a bit. Sierra kind of like scampers up and like hugs him. He's like puts his arms around her, kind of like brushes her hair back out of her face. Oh, and she's like, Dad, we killed a dragon.
Oh my god.
Oh, Sierra.
That's
Cameron?
that's quite the feat. He just like looks at you like, what is she talking?
Like a metaphorical dragon, like the dragon inside of us, the fear of the dark in the caves.
But also a real dragon. We killed a dragon.
Yeah.
A white dragon.
Oh, good.
We killed it. Us.
Well,
Next.
I've always told you since you were very little that you could accomplish anything you set your mind to, as long as you had capable people around you to do the work.
Oh, that was kind of an
So what you're saying is that Eridor wasn't my fault. It was the capable people around me.
What
You
happened in
did-
Eridor?
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
Nothing.
You're the best.
At any rate, well, your wanderings and adventurings brought you here. I was planning on this being a surprise for the family. I had, I paid a month's wages to get us all tickets down here on opening day, but suppose you'll have to act surprised when I surprise your mother.
It made you buy tickets and you work down here?
Yes, it's quite an expensive endeavor to do something like this. They
Okay.
were at a discounted rate, of course.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, but I assume did you took a look around already? Javanis, did you? Yes, we did the whole tour. Well, thank you. That's quite thorough of you. And I mean, I don't have much to do with Miss Corvalis's wonderful exhibit here. I mainly just make sure everything's in order. But I do want to show you something I'm very proud of. Do come this way. So the trip down here on the rails that we've laid in place typically takes a couple of days. It is mostly downhill, fairly easy for the beasts to go, and it's been cleared out. Took a lot of sort of excavation, blasting things away, all of that. But there's this, because the general public is not going to spend 2 to 3 days on a journey down here. So we invented something I'm very proud of. He sort of walks and takes a tunnel off to the left, and you see a large sort of wooden and metal platform that has like walls around it, but they're not solid walls. They come up to about maybe chest height, and there's a bunch of posts. And on either side of it, there's it looks to be like dozens of strands of rope and some chain. And looking up, you just see darkness up above. It just goes straight up in the cavern. Behold, I haven't really named it yet, but the Emperor seemed keen on the logistic progression of technology, and what better way to move things up and down than going just straight up in the vertical direction. So this can make the trip in only a couple of hours. There's a team of oxen up at the top that run it's all very technical, but it lifts the platform completely up back into the city. We had to sort of section off an area of the sewers, but that's been all cordoned off completely now. And we'll make a nice sort of entrance. It's already there, but it can't be open to the public. It's
Have you
secret.
named your invention yet?
No, I just said I hadn't named it yet.
You should call it the Uppinator.
Well, it does
Doesn't
go
it-
down as well.
But down is just up, but backwards.
The vertical later.
Well,
An it just says "un" for a while.
all great suggestions. We'll be sure to take them in. So, I mean, God, y'all look terrible. It must have been quite the journey, and no offense, of course, but I mean, if you'd like, it's only run with some test cargo, but it seems completely tried out. We've done it a dozen times now, and if you'd like to take the inaugural ride back up, we can have you back on the surface in no time. And you can say you're the first ones that rode the up and down innovate. Well, you rode up with it.
That seems
You
just great. I'm sure there's no way this can go wrong whatsoever.
in some of the restoration work down here, do you need any textile workers? Because I would be happy to come back down and help.
Well, Javanis, most of the textile restoration was done right here in Chora by very talented hands. A lot of it's still, a lot of it's done already. Were you here perhaps 6 months ago, we would have needed you right away. as that's when we put the bulk of the effort into the furnishings of the interiors of the home. We are still hiring for unskilled laborers to clean up refuse, excavate stone, and paint walls.
I'll keep that in mind.
Great. If you'd like, I can file an application for you. You just have to put, she like pulls out a piece of parchment and unrolls it. I just need your name here. Best way to contact you. Any known allergens. Are you prone to insanity from dark and claustrophobic conditions? We had that bite us a few times.
Let me think on it. I gotta check with my current job to see if like this is like something I could swing part-time.
Oh, it's not a part-time gig. You would be down here for at least a 3-month stint.
Yep, that's why I need to check with my employer. Thank you.
I thought the opening was in a week.
Right, but the employees do live down here.
Oh.
They didn't want the extra wear and tear on this, so it does cost a tremendous amount of resources. We all understand. And you know what? Who gets to live in a lost city of elves? We do. It's our joy.
But isn't it just the city of elves if you found it?
Well, I have work to do, so I'm gonna head off and get going. I'm glad you bumped into your father. This was wonderful. If you wouldn't mind, and she like reaches into another sort of pouch and pulls out a bunch of like little pamphlets. These are small surveys about your experience here, and it would help me tremendously if you could rate your experience and perhaps send them back down with your father. We do take every recommendation to heart, so please be candid, as we only want to improve this experience for you, the general public. Sort of like hands them all out.
Tuck it into a pocket.
Thank you, Javanis. That was very thorough as usual. Well, you're all set with this, and then return back to the surface for the second shipment. I bring our unexpected arrivals here back to the surface. Yes. Okay. Great. Well,
Casey,
yes.
can I use prestidigitation to light this on fire?
You can.
I'm gonna do that. And he holds it until it gets too close to his fingers, then just drops it on the ground.
Ara. She has emotional issues.
I'm gonna read mine actually. I'm just curious what type of questions are on the survey.
Of course you are.
It just
Doesn't have any writing on it.
it does have writing on it. As you're kind of ushered into the platformed area, you can set up to read it. It just sort of like rate your experience overall on a scale of 1 to 10. How was your tour guide? What attraction did you feel was most interesting? Would you be willing to donate? How do we best contact you for donations? And then
What is the secondary way we can contact you for donations?
Yes.
Okay. Just curious.
And then there's like a little small comment section. So you get back in, and the doors sort of pull shut. There's kind of a mesh around. There are torches as part of the platform for lights, and you look up and you just see sort of darkness, and then one sort of like little pin of light up at the top, and on the side there's a lever, and you just watch as your father goes over and sort of pulls it down and pushes it in, and then folds another thing over that locks it down, and you see a single rope sort of come unhooked, and then just kind of shoots back up, and then in a moment the whole ground just sort of lurches a little bit, and then it just slowly begins to go up, and all the various chains and line on either side of you sort of turning at different speeds. They're all on all sorts of different types of pulley systems. Occasionally it sort of like halts for a second and then like rumbles back, and you can see it's sort of riding on tracks on the walls, and your father points out, well, these are, I thought, much like the rail system below. We could set this up on the sides. It did take a little bit of doing, and unfortunately, we just got it working as the excavation blasting is now complete. It stopped warping, and we're able to successfully get a full run in and out.
Mr. Havel? Mr. Havel.
Yes.
Mr. Havel. Sorry. Since you stopped excavation, have the tremors continued or have they stopped?
I haven't felt tremors. No.
Now
But
that you've built an underground city, are you going to fix the city you broke?
We kind of fell into a deep pit. in the middle of the city.
I assume that's going to be fixed. The Dracor Empire doesn't just leave holes in the middle of the street.
Well, it is. I mean, public works projects are not my purview per se. I'm more sort of a logistics, move one thing to another. But I assume it's on the Emperor's radar. I mean, he sort of put priority in this project and utmost secrecy, of course.
So is that why people thought that the tremors were the gods thinking that Dracora was so mighty and great?
Dracora is mighty and great. I mean,
it is. But I mean, like, there's a correlation, though, right, between the excavation work and the tremors. Honestly.
Well, as you've sort of already seen, obviously the party line is that they are forces of divination, but yes, the blasting is surely responsible for some tremors, although there are creatures that lurk deep in the earth that we've found. We struggled with them at the very beginning. Large worm-like creatures, very large. Some of the tunnels that you traveled through were perhaps likely carved out by their burrowing. They're tens of feet in diameter, horrible things, swallow people whole.
Yeah, they probably had teeth like there, like see like my bite mark. Like
I think that might be a different kind of worm.
Okay.
There's all sorts of wretched creatures down here, but the point I was trying to make is, yes, they sense via vibration, and but they also do cause vibration themselves when they burrow, so they could potentially be the cause of some tremors. Perhaps the aftershock effects were really them. Blasting was kept to a fairly constrained schedule, and it was only increased in frequency when the sort of deadline pushed closer, which went along with the narrative, of course.
So you lied to people, or the government lied to people?
I don't see it as a lie. I see it more as
creative truth-telling.
well, at the end of the day, the people want something to believe in. Do they not? And this was done for the people, for their education.
I believe they want the truth, but okay.
Well,
the people shouldn't always get the truth because the truth hurts people.
Will said,
they should be allowed to believe what they want to believe, and they will reap the benefits of the Empire.
Everyone has moved off and is just like sitting off to the side.
You're in a small square platform.
It's big enough to like.
You have not gone that far.
I know.
The platform itself is maybe about 20 feet by 20 feet.
He's just off in one of the corners, sitting down, and he says, "Yes, it also keeps them very docile, handy that way."
No, they haven't been fed propaganda. They've just been allowed to rumor mill as they please.
Do you really believe that?
Yes.
Oh, what a havel.
Right.
At some level, it's not best for everyone to know everything about anything, because people try to take matters into their own hands and end up mucking about with things that are beyond the scope of which they're prepared to take care of.
Oh, well, that one got me right here.
With
Oh, they got me right here. Ow!
knowledge can be dangerous. It can be extremely helpful in the right hands, but also extremely dangerous.
Ow. Yeah. Okay. This is a nice talk, Mr. Havel. Thanks.
All right. So you rattle upwards. If you have anyone has any conversation questions for each other or for Langdon, feel free to ask them. If not, your elevator ride culminates at a platform. It looks like in an area of sewers, but the sewers themselves have kind of all long since been blocked off, and it's kind of all dried out. You can tell it was a sewer. There's various dried out sluiceways and circular tunnels and gratings and that kind of stuff. But there is a grand sort of staircase. It's kind of almost like an ornate kind of subway entrance, if you will, that comes down to it. And you do come up and you see off to one side there is all the ropes sort of lead over to one area, and there's just teams of a dozen oxen around this like large sort of spoked wheel spiral thing, and there's a whole bunch of gears and pulleys and such set up around there. It looks like this elaborate mechanism that allows it to lift up, and as it comes up there are two guards up there that kind of like lock some things into place, and then the doors swing open for you. Well, do promise me one thing, all of you, that's not a mention of any of this to anyone.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
You do realize I want to impress upon you the gravity of my request in the Emperor's desire to keep this a surprise for the people unveiled during the tournament, and we've all expressly signed agreements, and if my two children are amongst the ones that do this, it will be likely my head that is on the chopping block. If
No worries, I don't think any of us are really gossips.
I do appreciate it, but I guess you can say you were there first in a few days when the festival is finally completed.
Is there going to be like a big ceremony down here or something?
The unveiling is going to actually take place during the probably immediately preceding the final match of Bodrin's March, the tournament. And we will see, but it's for the first few months I'm told that it's only going to be those who have special access to tickets or very important people, that sort of thing. The general public will likely not have any access for months and months and months until the upper echelon of folks have satiated themselves on the wonders and splendors that are down there.
Mechanically, how many days are left until the festival that I'm supposed to be a part of?
Oh, yeah.
2 days. And you come up, and it is, it seems like it's early morning.
Everyone narrows his eyes at the sun.
Yeah, it's probably about 9 o'clock, 9 a.m.
You said it's in 2 days?
Yeah, so this day that you're in, and then the next day goes by, and then that's the...
So glad to be back up here.
And you do head back up to sort of street level. It is kind of closed off, sort of there's construction around it, so it just looks like kind of a public works project, and you go out unceremoniously through a single door back out onto the streets of Shora, and you take a second to kind of get your bearings. It's not entirely central, but you do see sort of the Amberfields district not too far away.
I have responsibilities in 2 days. I think we should take a moment to rest
Oh, we all need to have a talk first.
Mm-hmm.
And I was about
What
to
do you
say,
mean?
and plan.
Do you have something you need to share?
I
Can
think
we
so.
can we go somewhere?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go to Lyssandra's food collective. We made reservations. We never went.
Oh my god.
What?
All right.
What is it, Akira? Akira, what's this?
Okay.
I have no words right now.
What? You seem distressed. Do you know something?
Ah.
I just pat Akira on the shoulder as I go past and kind of lean in and go, no, I'm right there with you.
I-
I'm just speechless.
I pull on Tyrant and I'm like, did you hear anything down there? Was there anything down? Did you hear? Were there people back there? Was there anybody there?
At the
Like
pyramid.
what did you? Yeah, what did you like? I don't know. I don't know what you did. Did you see anything? Did you?
We should speak in a different place.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yes, let's save this conversation for the moment, but I didn't hear anything, if that's your specific question.
I did.
Okay, let's go. Well, I don't know what you did.
Let's go. And we walk.
Okay, where are you headed?
I carry Roswell.
Make a strength check.
Is it your strength like 8?
I'm pretty stout.
Yeah. My strength is 6.
Okay, even better.
There's that 8 you wanted. Make a weight check for me so I can.
All right, so try as you may, you're not able to lift Roswell and armor and gear. Where are you guys headed?
Lyssandra's collective.
All right.
Oh, I don't think we should talk in public.
No.
I think we should get off.
I think we would be all right at my order.
That's actually a good place.
Yeah, so let's go there then.
All right.
Is Ciora still with us, or did she stay with her father?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tevrin says out loud, seemingly speaking to an invisible, omnipresent narrator.
Yeah. Ciora has kind of like wandered out and around, and she's kind of like stretching and like you swear you saw her wave at the sun. But she's just sort of like enjoying it, and she kind of like twirls around and frolics a little bit. Very happy to be up and about. And then she notices you guys are kind of heading off, so she rejoins. Langdon kind of goes back through the door where she came. You get the impression that he's probably going to go back down.
And Tevrin's just like disappeared all the way back into his head. Although, like, what glimpses you do get of his expression, he seems like he's charmed by what Ciora is doing and is trying to hide it.
So, you make your way back through sort of the morning. Looking around, you do notice there's more people on the streets than normal. It seems like there's just a little bit more commotion and hustle and bustle around the city, even at this sort of early an hour. I mean, it's not like super early. It's like 9 a.m. or something like that. And you head back to the Breenheld Sanctuary, the newly formed Chorin branch of Roswell's church, for lack of a better term. In one side of the Amberfields district, the building, sort of a nice contrast to all the bright colored paintings of the various other Chorin buildings, sort of a simple, austere, but very large granite building. As you come to the door, it is opened for you. One of the other members of your order kind of saw you guys coming back in. She just sort of nods.
Hey, sister. We need a
bath.
Yeah, we are. We're kind of bushed, so I'm wondering if we could hang out in the rooms we used earlier.
Of course, well, we figured as much. So we left them open. I can have them draw you bars if you'd like.
Yeah, maybe later. Like, we're okay right now, but I really appreciate it. I don't mind doing that work.
Well, glad to have you back.
Me too. Okay, thank you.
She kind of like holds the door open as you come in. Siora kind of like flits about a little bit more out. Is not entirely thrilled about going inside, but does come back in, following you all. You have several rooms. They're at your disposal, as you did before. And of course, the garden and whatever else, the normal areas.
I think we will huddle into one room.
Huh?
Yeah?
Yeah, I also think can everyone stay in this 10-foot area for the next little bit? And I'll cast a little non-detection on us.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, do that.
So, I have some great news. You know we were already.
You heard my parents? You heard them down there? They're down there. They're totally down there.
That would be bad news.
Well, why would that be bad news?
I wouldn't have heard them.
Go ahead.
It doesn't matter.
Say your thing. What's your good news?
So you know how we were all worried about those swords, right? That we had to hold on to, and we didn't know what to do with them, and all of that stuff. Well, so there's one less to worry about now. Isn't that great?
By the way, you might want to adjust your definition of good news.
Trying to be positive.
Sorry, by all means.
Ooh.
Can we stop talking cryptically and just tell us what the fuck happened?
I put a key in the door and it got stuck.
What?
Put a key in the door and it got stuck.
The big door, like the
bronze one.
The Temple of the Elders door.
Yes.
Did it open?
No.
Well, then we're fine.
I agree completely.
How are we fine? You have given whomever a key.
No. We have put a key in place somewhere. It doesn't mean anything because we still have the keys.
Why didn't you bring it back with you?
We could not. It got stuck.
Do you believe that anyone could just dislodge it, given the fact that maybe physical strength would be required?
No, I believe I am more than capable of pulling the sword out of the stone. I have the strength, the heart, and the willpower for it, but it was stuck tight. Teberin tried.
To be fair, I do believe it's some sort of arcane enchantment. It didn't have the give to it that something more physical would have.
So nobody has the key. There's just 3 keys now.
No, actually, somebody has the key because there is someone in that temple.
Okay, but they can't get it out. Wait.
What did you?
I don't know who, Roswell. The only thing I could make out is that it is a male. I couldn't see anything. It was just dark.
What was the?
I don't know the language.
What did it sound like?
I don't know. Just a male voice.
I speak some Dwarvish to see if it matches. Does it sound like that?
You didn't get a good enough listen to really know. It was just lower in pitch, so you couldn't tell what language it was speaking or anything else.
But either way, they don't have the key. Nobody has the key. It's just in the lock.
Seeing as there are armed Dracoran guards, I would say that it pretty much belongs to them.
Okay, but they can't do anything with it. They can't get it out. They can't open the temple. they can't do a single thing with the key being there, so nobody has it.
I have two concerns. The first, we don't know the mechanics behind the creation of the keys. If we have however many uncharged keys with us and somebody goes to the forge and creates another one, we don't know what happens then. And two, we have not decided whether or not we are opening this building in the first place.
How would we even do that now?
So, to address your concerns, concern number one, they could have done that whether we had the key or not, right? If they could make more keys, whether the key was in the lock or with us is irrelevant if they can just go and make a new one.
They weren't able to before until we killed the dragon.
Well, they could have killed the dragon.
It's a sealed.
They could have, yes, they
That's
could
a
have.
sealed place. The stone was molded.
Yes.
I'm so confused
no
as to
one
why
can-
they built this whole like fake thing when the real thing is down there, but then have the real
So there's two reasons.
temple.
What it either could be an attraction, which is unlikely, or it could be a cover for the emperor to get at the temple without it having, without it raising concerns to people.
Why
Well,
would
and it
you
also-
open your cover to the public?
Well, I mean, for the same reason that anybody has a front man in a
Like
con.
the emperor
You need
can't
something to draw the eyes.
blow down there himself, but
Isn't
Well-
the Empress mad?
She is.
Yes.
To the best of our knowledge.
Couldn't
What?
this be a machination of her madness?
It is possible. I mean, the Emperor does put a fair bit of stock in her prophecy.
What was her? Do you know her prophecy exactly? What was it again?
Well, it wasn't a specific prophecy. It was that she is supposedly gifted since the failed ritual from my mother was bombarded with some sort of celestial power, and they believe that she has the gift of being able to create prophecy to tap into those sorts of things. I don't know. I haven't worked with her for quite some time because, well, one, I've been underground, and two, once she married the emperor, it was sort of mission accomplished in terms of my work with her. I mean, once you've married the emperor, there's not really anywhere else to go socially.
Well, and the Dracora Empire has created this little fucking narrative for everything.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't the emperor want people down there to see whatever glory is down there that he might open? And it will just perpetuate into this mythology that's been created.
They always say that history is written by the victors, so I guess we can be happy that we're writers and not being overwritten.
But
Who's
are-
we in this scenario, Sayora?
yeah.
Well, I mean, us as Dracorans.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that Dracora that you're talking about means everybody in this empire. I think it means the people with the power. Those are the people writing. The people that live, symbolizing the farms. They don't write the story, do they?
No,
But
But
that's the same in every.
they benefit from
It doesn't mean it's right in every society either.
people in Dracor are very well taken care of. And part of that comes from a peace of mind and a willingness to work and faith in their leaders.
Oh yeah,
Whether
yeah.
you like
it's
it
a
or
bunch
not,
of bullshit.
Those people are out in the fields feeding all of us day in and day out, and they're safe.
Are they? I mean, they went
Yes.
through how much to build that at the cost of destroying their own city up above. Like is that safe?
Well, it didn't get destroyed. There was one or two problems, right? The city still stands. There's many buildings around. It's not ruins. Everything's not on fire.
it's just not right.
Yes, well, the thing is that there's a certain arithmetic that leaders do about how many deaths is an acceptable number. And nothing that I have seen thus far suggests to me that that number for these people is particularly low.
And you know that was all bullshit that they were talking about with the Riracool, correct? From what we've discovered, they've been hunted. I mean, like the Trakorn Empire slaughtered them. They didn't happily surrender.
They were at war. That's what you do in war.
Sure, but you recognize the fact that they were telling a different story down there. The listening pools that we saw were not this benevolent little fountain to reflect and think.
And
was it,
do you think the general populace wants to know that their every anxious thought drips into a pool and then is feed for some sort of primal evil demigod?
But why would they recreate that? Why?
They didn't.
They okay.
They didn't, Akira.
I mean,
they went off stories that they
symbolically. Someone knows what's going on. Someone built this, and they know exactly what the real shit is. And this is a facade, and I don't fucking like it. I think that the ceremony is going to be a bunch of bullshit. I think everything is going to fucking blow up. I think the people of Drakor are really, really in trouble, and I don't fucking like the Emperor. And fuck you.
She puts her hand up a second. Be careful.
Of you?
No. Of running around speaking what is essentially treason.
I'm speaking to this group of people, and you two going around telling everybody that we fucking killed a dragon isn't fucking helping. I know he's your father, but you don't just go around saying that we killed a fucking dragon.
Don't go around saying fuck the Emperor either.
I'm saying it to you all. No one else will know that I said that.
She is just warning you not to say it.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's fine.
So what you're telling me is I should have made a story up so that everyone felt better about what happened.
I'm saying you don't just discuss that shit with anyone, including your family.
Sort of like
I rest my case in this regard.
Siora.
I'm talking to all of you who I've experienced all this with. And if I can't talk to you, then I don't know what I'm fucking doing here.
All right. Let's all
anyway
take a breath for a moment.
So what are we doing now? Has anything changed?
Well, the temple's a quarter open.
Yay.
Your magical friend, where did he head off to?
Did we leave him down there? No, we took care of him, right? Kendra banished him.
No,
Oh, you're talking about Karut. Oh yeah, we have no fucking idea where Karut is.
I haven't banished him yet.
He ran off.
I think he probably
Please don't banish Karut.
Probably went back to his school place.
The Bremeralty School?
Maybe. Yes.
You must pay attention to details, Kendra. Someday they might help you.
I only pay attention to various people that tell me different pieces of information, and sometimes I just go along with them. I'm very easily manipulated.
So we don't know anything about who might be in the temple.
Well, we don't know that they're in the temple or in the room next to the temple.
Did you try to listen when you were down there?
Yes. I had my ears unclogged and I was standing in there, but we heard nobody.
Okay.
I know that I heard someone in the temple.
But me and Tebrin were both invisible and we couldn't see each other, so it's quite possible that somebody could have been there. But we just couldn't see. Or they were on the other side of the door.
That's cool. So instead of maybe trying to strategize about it, you both just went down. I'm like,
Absolutely, yes. That's exactly what happened.
without giving me a chance to try and.
Yes.
That's.
Roswell, I am sorry. It was something that was done on the spur of the moment. And I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done, but I would have maybe liked to have gone down there and tried, but I didn't really have a way. So
I know we're not done with it yet. We'll be back here again.
We cannot breach the temple, correct?
Correct.
Then our objective has not changed. We
I
either
agree.
gather and charge the keys with the idea of opening the temple, finding a way to seal the temple, or opening it to destroy the weapon is our overarching goal. At least that was mostly agreed upon a conversation or two ago, although it seems like so long ago. I would very much like to continue on that quest. I do have responsibilities to my order and to the combined church here that has brought me in to be an honor guard member through the next 2 days. But beyond that, I would like to take steps toward finding the rest of these keys. The one we don't have with Karut, charging them and doing what is appropriate to that temple for the safety, not just for the Empire, but rather most likely the continent, if not even greater reach than that. When your father said people take things into their own hands, and that is a bad thing, well, you know what? That's also a very good thing. And we are very capable people, so we should be working toward the greater good. And we've done just that with a few sidebars here and there, but I think we can find resolution for Roswell with the temple. I think we can find resolution for the problems that plague this dangerous attempt at making some sort of attraction out of a situation that is, well, something they don't understand what they're dealing with.
It's just
I think we also have to find a way to stop that pool from existing.
Yeah, I agree with
both
that.
invasive to the people as well as disgusting in its manner of subsisting some sort of wretched creature of some aberrant natured evil, pure evil I felt in its presence. Anyway, that is where I stand.
I'm inclined to agree.
That ticks a lot of the boxes.
I have some business to attend to in the next 2 days as well, but I'm in agreement.
Then I only ask the following. In the next day or two, or even right now, we decide in which direction we go to travel, to try to charge or whatnot to which sword, because we have a few locations on a map, which is no longer our splash screen. However, it is not hard to find it again, I'm sure.
So,
and there it is.
We're gonna attend the fights together. I mean, you need to do what you need to do while you're there, but I think that maybe we should see what this announcement.
Yes, I certainly think we should keep an eye on things.
My brother should be fighting, so I'll be watching.
I have to cheer on Oberon as well. I mean, he's going to be the greatest warrior in all of the Empire, so go, brother.
Go, brother.
Jousts and tournaments, or
Let's hope he doesn't turn into a blood sacrifice.
so.
Yeah, sounds pretty ritualistic to me.
Well, it wasn't a ritual last time, or the time before that.
You all hear sort of a sudden commotion outside the doors, sort of like a clamoring of people. There's some yelling and shouting.
Opening the door.
You see a woman sort of like being placed. She's being carried by looks like sort of lower classly dressed man. Puts her down. She's kind of like seizing, and some of the members of your order come out and hold her sort of hold her down as they wheel her off into one of the other rooms off to the side, and the doors open. You kind of go over as they're just holding her there, and the man is sort of like inconsolable as he's just like, well, she was just fine, and I don't know what's wrong with her. And they kind of like pull him aside, and a couple more of them head in, sort of like a triage situation, and going, and she just sort of like is there, and they have what you can tell is one of them is some sort of cleric, and you can tell it's starting to do some sort of ritual to determine sort of a divination to kind of determine what's wrong, as you sort of go and look, and then the two people holding her down kind of ease off a little bit as she stops for a second, and she sits right upright and sort of looks out the door, seeing all of you, and her eyes are just completely whited over, and she just sits there and freezes for a second, and then you can see right behind, sort of in the ball of her eye, it sort of presses out a little bit, and then her eyes just go wide, and you just see this single like worm crawl out of her eye and down her nose and just drop onto the ground. And that's where we're gonna end for tonight.
Okay, hold on a second. What the fuck?
He's drinking out of her pool. He's there. He's fucking watching. Okay.
Nice.
Fucking god. I'm writing this down, sorry.
Well, so surviving the tour guide, that's a CR 12 monster.
By the way, I absolutely know who you base that on.
Who?
Janet.
Yeah, I guess it is Janet-esque.
Yeah. What do you mean? It's literally Janet. It's literally Janet. The name even sounds sort of like it.
Oh, I don't know. I just picked names that invoke certain emotional responses. Well.
Oh my god.
What?
At the entire thing. Just the entire thing. It's unbelievable is what it is.
Welcome to the surface.
Oh my god, we're back.
We go back.
Once again, Tiburon has been nerfed.
Good
That was
stuff.
so much.
Whoa.
That was a really weird sound.
That was so much close to the mic.
Oh, sorry. I'm not used to having it.
I also feel like it's like the after an all-nighter when all you want to do is pass out, but then you're like, oh no, I've got another test.
Oh, this is horrible. This is just bad.
Which bit is bad?
What do you mean which bit is bad?
Well, I want to know which bit you think is bad.
All of it. It's horrible.
Which bit specifically?
This emperor has rebuilt.
I don't see why that is the bit that you're concerned about. A woman just had a fucking worm crawl out of her eye, and you're like, this guy built a museum out of old elf shit. What a
Because
fucking bastard!
About multiple things at the same time.
Obviously, the emperor is under the influence of this fucking demon.
What do you mean? How is that obviously? Did I miss something?
Being controlled.
Did I miss something?
Well, I mean, it's very possible that he's being controlled just by virtue of if someone's controlling the Empress. But I mean, I don't think that he's necessarily made any kind of deal or that there is necessarily any sort of direct
I don't think
contact.
I don't think there's any evidence either in any direction that he's being influenced by anybody. He might be, but I don't think we've seen any evidence of that yet.
What do you mean? The demon. the whatever his name is.
Agthamon.
Yes, it's him. It's fucking him.
How is it him? What makes you think it's him?
Well, first of all, he created this whole entire thing. He's been here the entire time. The listening pools are fucking control. I don't know how to explain it, but that it's him. It's fucking him.
Here's the thing. Also, we don't actually know what ultimately happened to the Ria Rakul. We don't know what that final thing was that pushed them like over the edge into extinction. But the fact that but I mean, that's what I'm saying, right? That it could very well have been Agthamon, that he created the pools and like planted the seed and then fertilized the metaphorical seed.
Well,
he did destroy the Ria Rakul just by virtue of corrupting them, which he can then very easily do to Chora. There's nothing stopping him from doing the exact same thing again.
Definitely possible, but
well,
I don't
there's
think
one thing stopping him. Us.
I don't think there's like any
Oh
evidence.
no.
It's
There's only
Agthamon
one
or
course of
Devil.
action that can make
Yeah.
this successful. You must turn him into a lich.
You're right. I like it.
So what you're saying is it's inevitable.
You've
It's unlichable.
Sure.
I know.
I mean, it's a party tradition now. We made one lich.
Now we must make many more, until everybody's a lich, and then we make a super lich.
We combine all of the liches together.
With our liches combined.
By the way, out of character, that key being in the door changes literally nothing.
what?
Clearly.
Nothing has changed.
What do you mean?
I don't like the fact that it's out of our sight. That's
yeah,
the
it's,
whole
but-
it's not in our
so-
possession.
So this is why it doesn't matter, right?
Nobody can do anything with it.
For anybody to open the door,
No,
they have to get our keys anyway. And if they get our other 2 keys, they would have got the other key regardless if he had it on us.
Yeah, and also, like, to be clear, Tebrin gives Kendra a lot of shit. I wasn't like, it is what it is. I'm not angry about it.
Yeah. Like,
Because, like, to a certain extent, I agree with you. It's just that the fact that we know so little about the keys, now having one of them that we're not sure whether it's charged or not, just fucking out there.
I assume it is charged if it's locked in place, but you know, who knows?
Well,
Yeah, like, that's the thing, right? We don't know.
it's more so too that somebody went down and touched it, and
We should have
and-
tried the mechanism, to be honest with you.
To
Maybe
determine.
that unlocks it and sends it back out.
Or maybe it starts something else entirely.
Or maybe it
We need to
nukes
get
the
the
city.
Empire that one step closer to getting into the temple. And whatever.
But again, like, that step is meaningless if we have the other steps, right? Like
Yeah.
25% doesn't mean anything if we hold 50%.
yeah, I think it's more so that we left a trail. There's something there that wasn't there before.
I think there's something there that wasn't there before.
Just like that.
True and a bit alarming. Would have ever thought it could be. Well, sounds like you guys have a case of the Mondays.
It's always a case of the Mondays.
It is. Well, stream, thanks for watching.